Chapter 126. The newest chapter of this book is not finished. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that cannot be found online are all available here. That night, Jun Wang received an invitation from Marquis Ding and Fu. Ever since Jun Wang ended his life as a hostage in the country of Chen and returned to the capital, he kept a low profile. Other than studying for the imperial exams, he did not interact with anyone. Everyone in the capital knew this Jun Wang's personality. Normally, they would not take the initiative to interact with him. Thus, looking at the invitation in his hand, Jun Wang was surprised. In order to not appear rude, Marquis Gu's invitation was for Jun Wang and Zhuang Meng Dai. Jun Wang was surprised, but seeing Zhuang Meng Dai's name, he was not surprised. Marquis Gu really raised a restless daughter. He did not need to think to guess that it was done by Gu Jinyu who had swapped places. However, Jun Wang did not expect that Gu Jinyu had misunderstood his words, causing Gu Jinyu to have thoughts that she should not have. He only thought that she was trying to win over Zhuang Meng Dai and use Zhuang Meng Dai to invite him to the Fu to bask in his glory. He sneered and threw the invitation on the table. Wu Yong asked, "Jun Wang, what is Ding and Fu thinking? Why did they send you and young Miss Kai Dai an invitation?" The relationship between the two parties was a bit complicated. Last time at the villa was an accident. It was late and there were no inns nearby. He could not see at night and was afraid that his illness would be exposed, so he stayed at Ding and Fu's villa. However, behind Ding and Fu was Imperial Concubine Shu. Behind Imperial Concubine Shu was the Emperor. They were too close to the Zhuang family. Were they not afraid of causing the Emperor's suspicions? Jun Wang sneered, "If someone really asks, it's just a relationship between two young girls. It can't be considered a faction." Wu Yong curled his lips in disdain. "Don't go to this kind of Fu's banquet." When the old Marquis was on the throne, he did not have the right to have relations with our Zhuang family, much less now. Jun Wang faintly said, "Don't look down on Marquis Ding and Fu." The old Marquis had outstanding military service in the past but suddenly had his military power taken away by His Majesty. He even had to hand over the loyalists that he had secretly trained. "Do you think it's really like this?" "Isn't it?" Wu Yong asked. Royal Prince narrowed his eyes. "I've always suspected that the old Marquis had severed ties with His Majesty on the surface, but in reality, he took the opportunity to leave the capital to secretly cultivate troops for His Majesty. If Xian Ping Marquis Fu is the open spear in Your Majesty's hand, then Ding and Marquis Fu is the hidden arrow behind Your Majesty." Wu Yong expressed his doubts. "But no matter how I look at Marquis Gu, he doesn't look like someone who can achieve great things. How long can old Marquis hold on by himself? Isn't Your Majesty making the wrong bet?" Royal Prince An's gaze was deep. "Marquis Gu can't, but Gu Chongqing can." Wu Yong, this, Royal Prince did not continue this topic. Instead, he asked, "Miss Gu's birthday is also on the same day, right?" Wu Yong naturally understood that the Miss Gu his master was referring to was not Gu Jinyu. He said, "It should be. There's also young Master Gu." Royal Prince nodded. "Have you found out where they are staying in the capital?" Wu Yong said, "I've heard about it. Miss Gu's husband went to the Imperial College to register and left his address, but what?" Royal Prince asked. Wu Yong said, "That residence was the one that Royal Prince wanted to buy. Unfortunately, it was bought by someone for 10 times the price." Royal Prince had a bit of an impression. "You're talking about the residence that is very close to the Imperial College and has 2 large courtyards?" "That's right." Wu Yong nodded. Royal Prince was confused. How did they get into that residence? Wu Yong said, "I heard that Miss Gu's husband rented it for 30 taels of silver every month." Royal Prince was even more confused. Only 30 taels? 30 taels was not a small amount. But if one knew that the residence was bought for 10 times the price, they would feel that the rent was not worth mentioning. All of the residences in the alley were very close to the Imperial College. But only that residence had the largest courtyard. It was very suitable for people with small children. She just happened to have a 3-year-old little brother. But, how did they rent it? Maybe it's good luck. What Wu Yong really wanted to say was that the person who bought the residence was an idiot. Spending so much money to buy a residence in the Imperial College just to rent it out? Royal Prince and shook his head. Forget it. There's no need to look into this. It's not bad for them to live there. There are students from the Imperial College nearby. No one will recognize the Empress Dowager. There's one more thing, Wu Yong said. What is it? Royal Prince An asked. Wu Yong said with a strange expression, Does Royal Prince still remember the recommendation quota for the county? This subordinate asked around. Miss Gu's husband got 2 first places in the county exam. His total score is first in the county. Royal Prince An said, I know about this. It's because his grades are good enough that I persuaded grandfather to think of a way to reopen the Imperial College. This way, his entire family can enter the college. The Empress Dowager can also enter the capital without attracting attention. Is there a problem? Wu Yong said with a puzzled expression, the recommendation quota for the county wasn't his. He got in himself. Royal Prince An gave a puzzled sound. It was unknown if he was more surprised that the other party got first place in the provincial exam or more surprised about the quota. Who was the quota given to? He asked. Wu Yong said, It was given to a friend of his called Feng Lin. This subordinate has checked. This Feng Lin has no background. He ranked 17 in the provincial exam. The provincial exam was taken in Song County. He didn't even get into the Imperial College. I don't know how he got the recommendation quota for the Imperial College. Royal Prince An sneered. It's enough to bribe the county magistrate. Wu Yong frowned, but the quota for the Imperial College is handed in first. The results of the provincial exam will come out later. Could it be that Xiao Lulang was confident that he could get first place before the results came out, so he bribed the county magistrate in advance and gave the quota that should have belonged to him to his good friend? Isn't this too outrageous? It was indeed outrageous. After all, even Royal Prince An didn't dare to make such a risky move. But Royal Prince An didn't believe that there was a hidden reason. After all, Wu Yong had also checked Xiao Liolong's background. He was an orphan from outside the city. He lost his father when he was young. His mother raised him and his older brother, but died with his older brother. In the end, he was the only one left. He fainted at the entrance of the village and was saved by Gu Jiao. After they got married, he was registered in the village. He was appreciated by Principal Li. Principal Li even unilaterally announced that he was his direct disciple. He didn't say anything, but it was true that after he became Principal Li's disciple, his results improved by leaps and bounds. He was originally at the bottom of the class. Who would have thought that in less than a year, he would soar to the sky and become the provincial capital's top scorer? Royal Prince An smiled faintly. Back then, Principal Li and my 4th uncle were listed as the capital's 4 great talents. My 4th uncle had always been unconvinced. Why is Principal Li ranked higher than him? Now, we have an answer. Was it really Principal Li's credit? Why did Wu Yong feel that top scorer Xiao was the one who wasn't simple? But Wu Yong didn't say these words. He knew his royal prince's personality. He was resourceful and far-sighted. But at the same time, he thought highly of himself. He didn't think that anyone in the world could be smarter than him. In the blink of an eye, it was the 18th of October. The autumn air was crisp and the clouds were light. The manor was busy even before the sun rose. Today was not only Gu Jinyu's birthday, but also her coming-of-age ceremony. Marquis Gu's original intention was for Gu Jiao and Gu Yen to return to the manor to celebrate their birthday, but the siblings heartlessly rejected him. Gu Jiao didn't return because she didn't think of herself as part of the Marquis's manor. Gu Yen didn't return because there weren't many people in the manor who truly welcomed him. His grandmother only had 3 older brothers in her heart. He was sickly and had bad luck. Ever since he was young, his grandmother didn't like him. As for his 3 older brothers, when he was young, he naively thought that they were really his older brothers. After being beaten a few times, he understood that they would never be a family. Gu Jinyu's background was only known to the masters and a few trusted servants in the manor. Outsiders didn't know that Gu Jinyu was the wrong daughter, nor did they know that Madame Yao and her children had returned to the capital. They just thought that it was the same as the previous years, that Gu Jinyu was the only daughter celebrating her birthday, so they didn't suspect anything. Madame Yao had given her present to Gu Jinyu last night. Early in the morning, she had gone to the Imperial College to celebrate the twins' birthday. Gu Jinyu couldn't care less about her disappointment because she had too many surprises today. Consort Shu couldn't come to the Marquis's manor because something had happened at the last minute in the palace. She had asked the 5th prince to come in her place. The 5th prince even brought the Emperor's imperial edict, officially conferring her the title of county princess with the title of Hui. This was the Marquis's manor's first county princess. Everyone felt honored. Old Madame Gu also felt honored and knelt down to thank the Emperor for his grace. Grandmother. Gu Jinyu helped old Madame Gu up. Old Madame Gu patted her hand in relief, her eyes full of affection. I knew you were capable. His Majesty has conferred you the title of County Princess Hui. The word Hui shows how much His Majesty appreciates you. She was praising Gu Jinyu for her intelligence. Gu Jinyu bowed and said, It's all thanks to grandmother's good teachings. I've been under grandmother's influence since I was young. It's all thanks to grandmother that I have the knowledge I have today. Grandmother didn't favor one over the other just because I'm a girl. She hired so many outstanding tutors for me. Without grandmother, Jinyu wouldn't have the title of county princess. Old Madame Gu was overjoyed when she heard this. Old Madame Gu did dote on Gu Jinyu, but she couldn't compare to her 3 grandsons. The tutors were all hired by Marquis Gu. Old Madame Gu just didn't object. However, Gu Jinyu was willing to give her all the credit, which showed her filial piety. She wasn't like that wild girl who grew up in the countryside. She had been in the capital for so long but didn't even kowtow to her. It was a pity that she wasn't her biological daughter. They were separated by a layer. Congratulations, old madam. Congratulations, county princess. Concubine Ling presented her carefully prepared gift. Gu Jinyu didn't like Concubine Ling, but she knew that old madam liked Concubine Ling. She wouldn't disrespect old madam. She personally took Concubine Ling's gift. Thank you, Concubine Ling. Concubine Ling took out another gift. Your eldest brother prepared this for you. He can't leave the military camp, so he asked me to send this to you first. Gu Jinyu knew that this was actually prepared by Concubine Ling. She wasn't disappointed. She couldn't eat everything in one go. Her eldest brother's change in attitude towards her would take time. She already saw the signs. She believed that in time, her eldest brother would definitely accept her from the bottom of his heart. Gu Jinyu's coming-of-age ceremony was very grand. Many influential officials in the capital came. Even the Minister of Education of the Imperial College came. The Minister of Education was an official position second only to the Chancellor in the Imperial College. There were 2 ministers, 1 minister and 1 deputy. The one who came was the Minister of Education, Lord Zheng. The young Chancellor had passed away and the old Chancellor had resigned and left the capital. Everyone in the capital was saying that this Lord Zheng would be the next Chancellor of the Imperial College. Gu Jinyu felt extremely honored. All the grievances she had suffered in the villa for half a year had all disappeared. She indeed belonged in the capital. The capital was her place. Here she could shine. If Minister of Education Zheng's arrival made Gu Jinyu feel extremely honored, then the next person would make the entire Marquis's residence feel extremely honored. The person who came was the Crown Princess's trusted aide. The Crown Princess had sent Gu Jinyu her coming-of-age gift. Gu Jinyu simply didn't know what to say. The Crown Princess was the future Empress. Her status was second only to the Empress and the Crown Prince. Even Consort Shu didn't dare to put on airs in front of her. Such a powerful person actually sent someone to attend her coming-of-age ceremony? Gu Jinyu was overwhelmed by the favor. The eunuch smiled and said, Congratulations, County Princess Hui. The Crown Princess said that if County Princess Hui is free, you can visit the Eastern Palace and play chess with her to relieve your boredom. Yes. Gu Jinyu respectfully replied. The eunuch waved the horsetail whisk in his hand and smiled. It's getting late. The Crown Princess is still waiting for me to report back. I'll send you off. Please wait, County Princess Hui. After the eunuch left, old Madame Gu and Marquis Gu both felt that this was unreal. In one night, they even had dealings with the Crown Princess? It might be an exaggeration to say that they had dealings. The Crown Princess had most likely sent a congratulatory gift on account of His Majesty. But no matter what, this was enough for them to be prominent in the capital for a while. Jinyu didn't disappoint grandmother. Old Madame Gu's last bit of resentment that Gu Jinyu wasn't her biological granddaughter disappeared. So what if she wasn't her biological granddaughter? Anyone who walked out of the Marquis's residence would represent the Marquis's residence in the future. The latest chapter of this book isn't finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels will be updated even faster. Millions of novels will be read for free. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/114972949. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, zhbqg.com. Chapter 127. The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that cannot be found online are all available here. Marquis Ding and Manor was not too far from the directorate, so Yao Shi arrived very early. Gu Jiao had just finished washing up when she heard a knock on the door. She opened it and saw that it was Yao Shi. She could not help but be stunned. Yao Shi gently smiled and said, "I didn't disturb you, right?" Gu Jiao shook her head. "I didn't. I'm already up." Yao Shi smiled and said, "You haven't eaten breakfast yet, right? I brought steamed buns and brown sugar steamed buns." The manor was preparing for Gu Jinyu's banquet. Yao Shi had bought breakfast on the way. It was from a famous steamed bun shop in the capital. "Come in." Gu Jiao invited Yao Shi into the yard. Xiao Lulang had also gotten up and was drawing water from the well. Yao Shi and Xiao Lulang had met a few times in the countryside. Unlike Marquis Gu's pickiness, Yao Shi was very satisfied with Xiao Lulang. He was handsome. This was important. He also studied well and was diligent. Originally, because they had not consummated their marriage, Yao Shi was worried about the relationship between the two. But after observing a few times, she found that the two were getting along very well. It was just that they had not been enlightened. "Madame Gu." Xiao Lulang politely greeted Yao Shi. Gu Jiao called Yao Shi Madame Gu. Xiao Lulang also called her this. Yao Shi did not care about the title and happily gave it to Xiao Lulang. Gu Jiao wanted to go to the kitchen to make porridge for the family, but she was rejected by Yao Shi. Yao Shi would let her do anything else, but today was her and Gu Yan's birthday. Yao Shi would not let her do anything. Yao Shi would occasionally make some pastries in the manor, so she was quite familiar with the kitchen. She first made the morning porridge and then began to prepare the next 2 meals. She sent Granny Fong to buy groceries. What to buy and how much to buy were all written down on the list. This was the first birthday that Yao Shi was celebrating for her daughter. She had prepared for a long time and had even practiced the dishes. Yao Shi was still very popular in the family. Even the strange-tempered matriarch had been won over by her pastries. With her coming, everyone was quite happy. Gu Yan had nothing to do after breakfast, so he went to pick the corn cobs. However, he was stopped by little Jing Kong. Little Jing Kong took the corn cob and raised his little hand to stop her. He said sternly, "Today is your birthday too. You don't have to do anything. I won't quarrel with you and let you have a day." Yao Shi made a table full of delicious dishes. Not only did she take care of Gu Jiao and Gu Yan's tastes, she also took care of everyone else's. Gu Xiaoshun stared at the dishes that she could barely put down. She was so shocked that she was speechless. Was this the new year? Why are there so many good dishes? Braised pig trotters with soybeans. Gu Xiaoshun's saliva immediately flowed down. This was his favorite dish. The pig trotters were shiny and oily. When you poked them with chopsticks, the skin was still springy. Gu Xiaoshun felt that he couldn't take it anymore. The pig trotters were first braised and then stewed in a clay pot. They were sticky and melted in the mouth. Xiao Lulang loved to eat fish, so Yao Shi made delicious crucian carp soup. The matriarch liked sweet things, so Yao Shi made brown sugar glutinous rice cake and only used half of the sugar. There was also a vegetarian meal for little Jing Kong. Yao Shi didn't forget to put it in little Jing Kong's exclusive small exquisite bowl. She had asked Gu Yan about these things. She remembered them one by one and prepared them carefully. This was also one of the reasons why everyone liked Yao Shi. She was always able to take care of people without making a sound. In addition to these dishes, Yao Shi also made a bowl of longevity noodles for the siblings. There were no extra ingredients for the longevity noodles. She only added a few green onions and drizzled a few drops of sesame oil. However, Gu Jiao felt that this bowl of longevity noodles was better than other noodles. There was an indescribable taste that warmed her heart and made her nose sour. She couldn't tell if this was her own feeling or Gu Yan's. After eating, everyone began to give Gu Jiao gifts. The first to give was little Jing Kong. He was the youngest and the most eager. He gave Gu Jiao and Gu Yan a small house made of clay. It was made of clay. After he made it, he asked his bad brother-in-law to help him roast it in the stove. Actually, he remembered that the small house he made didn't look like this. He didn't know why it changed shape after he roasted it. The truth was that he made it too ugly. Xiao Lulang couldn't stand it and secretly repaired it for him. It looked better. The door of the small house could be opened. There was also a small wooden figure inside. He asked Gu Xiaoshun to help him carve it. Gu Yan lived in Gu Yan's house. Gu Jiao lived in Gu Jiao's house. However, when Gu Yan opened the door of the small house, he was dumbfounded. "Why are you in my sister's house?" Little Jing Kong. "Ah, I've been discovered." "That's right." The scheming monk, little Jing Kong, secretly asked Gu Xiaoshun to make a small wooden figure and secretly put it in Jiao Jiao's house. This way he could be with Jiao Jiao every day. Gu Yan wasn't happy. He asked little Jing Kong to move out of Gu Jiao's house. Little Jing Kong refused. He even said sternly, "This is Jiao Jiao's gift. You can't destroy Jiao Jiao's things." "Fine, I won't destroy it. I'll move in." In the end, the three wooden figures, Gu Jiao, Gu Yan, and little Jing Kong, all moved into Gu Jiao's small house. Gu Yan's small house was empty. Gu Xiaoshun gave 2 Buddhist scriptures that he carved himself. In exchange for helping him carve the wooden figures, little Jing Kong took out his attire, put on the prayer beads, put on the monk's robe, took out a small wooden fish, and performed a ritual for the Buddhist scriptures sincerely. So these were Buddhist scriptures that had been blessed. Gu Jiao flipped through the Buddhist scriptures in his hands. He was in disbelief. Gu Xiaoshun was the most worry-free child in the family. However, because of this, he was easily neglected by his family. Gu Jiao didn't know that he could learn so many words in just a few months. Many of them were rare words. "Can you read all of them?" Gu Jiao asked. "Yes, I can." Gu Xiaoshun nodded. Brother-in-law said that if he didn't know how to read them, he wouldn't know how to answer if someone asked him what he carved. Therefore, even though it was very difficult, he still tried his best to remember these words, including their meaning. Gu Xiaoshun saw Gu Jiao's thoughtful expression. He scratched his head. "Sister, do you not like it?" Gu Jiao looked up and smiled. I like it. I like it very much. Gu Yen gave Gu Jiao a bracelet. He had bought it with his hard-earned money. From the moment he refused to move back to the Lord Protector's mansion, his father cut off his monthly allowance. Gu Jiao gave him pocket money every month. However, Gu Jiao gave him money to buy a gift for Gu Jiao. He always felt that something was wrong. Therefore, he decided to earn it himself. He didn't have any work to do at his great aunt's place. He didn't know how to copy books at his brother-in-law's place. He also didn't know how to carve at Gu Xiaoshuan's place. After thinking about it, he decided on Little Jing Kong. Little Jing Kong had a monthly rent of 30 taels of silver. His family was definitely a small local tycoon. Gu Yan's process of earning money was like this. Every day, he fed the chickens in Little Jing Kong 5 copper coins. Every day, he took the chickens in Little Jing Kong 5 copper coins. Every day, he cleaned the chicken poop 5 copper coins. Every day, he praised Little Jing Kong in fancy ways 10 copper coins. He worked for a total of 10 days and earned 250 copper coins. He originally liked a pair of pearl hair clips, but unfortunately, he didn't have enough copper coins. Therefore, he settled for the next best thing and bought a bracelet. The bracelet was strung with jade stones. Any stone in Gu Yan's house was worth more than these jade stones. However, he didn't earn them himself. Gu Jiao put on the bracelet. It looked very nice. Gu Jiao also prepared a gift for Gu Yen. Gu Yen didn't open it in front of everyone. He wanted to go back to his room and open it secretly. Little Jing Kong was very curious. He really wanted to know what Jiao Jiao gave Gu Yen. Great aunt, where's your gift? Gu Yen asked. I didn't. The old lady turned her face away. Gu Yen muttered, I clearly saw it. You secretly did it every day. Gu Jiao looked at the old lady. The old lady reluctantly took out a pouch and put it on the table. Then she looked up at the sky and ignored everyone. I did it blindly. Gu Jiao picked up the pouch. Little Jing Kong came over to take a look and said in surprise, Wow! Great aunt! You know how to embroider ducks. What ducks? Those are mandarin ducks. One is your sister. The other is your brother-in-law. There are also a few duck eggs. No, it's mandarin duck eggs. Look at how this little stinky monk led her astray. The Empress Dowager was a beauty when she was young. The Zhuang family was very powerful. She didn't need to be virtuous. It was enough for her to be beautiful in the harem. Later, the Empress Dowager realized that beauty wasn't necessary. After all, the emperor was blind. Therefore, the Empress Dowager really didn't know how to embroider. The Empress Dowager didn't directly embroider mandarin ducks into duck eggs. It was the result of her secretly sewing many pouches. Gu Jiao's pouch was indeed shabby. It should be replaced. The old lady looked like she didn't care about what was happening outside, but she was very meticulous. Gu Jiao smiled slightly. Thank you, great aunt. Although the old lady's pouch didn't look good, it was very practical. It was divided into several layers. It could separate banknotes, silver pieces, copper coins, and small items. In addition, it was inlaid with a special sewing layer. How could a normal person think so carefully? This was the Empress Dowager's love for Gu Jiao. It was also the Empress Dowager's excellence. Yao Shi made 2 sets of clothes for the 2 children. After coming to the capital, Gu Jiao didn't need to go up the mountain to chop firewood. Yao Shi made a set of clothes for her to work at home. The other set was the same as the noble ladies in the capital. It was an elegant and beautiful dress. There was also a box of gifts prepared for Marquis Gu and the older brother in the Fu. The 2 of them didn't open it. Finally, there was Xiao Liulong's gift. Everyone was looking forward to it. He never gave pen or paper. The whole family knew what he would give this time. It couldn't be a copybook, right? Then Xiao Lulang took out a brocade box. Under everyone's impatient gaze, Gu Jiao opened the box. It turned out to be a stack of copybooks. Gu Jiao, everyone. However, it didn't seem to be a normal copybook. Each copybook was a poem. Gu Jiao felt that these poems were very well written, although she didn't understand what they meant. Gu Jiao patiently flipped through each copybook. Xiao Lulang didn't expect that she would flip through the copybooks in front of everyone. His expression inexplicably became nervous. Gu Jiao flipped to the end and found an unexpected surprise. This box was specially made. At the bottom, there was a white magnolia hairpin. Oh! Gu Jiao's eyes widened. This iron-like man finally knew to give her a hairpin? What Gu Jiao didn't know was that this hairpin was also called a hairpin ceremony. When a woman of Zhao country reached the age of 15, the elders in the family would hold her hair and give her a hairpin ceremony. This meant that the woman had reached adulthood and was of marriageable age. Of course, if the woman got married before she reached the age of 15, she would have a hairpin ceremony on the day of her marriage. This also meant that she had reached adulthood. When Gu Jiao got married, she didn't have a hairpin ceremony. Gu Jiao wouldn't spend so much effort on a fool, but Xiao Lulang still had an impression of it. When Yao Shi saw the hairpin that her son-in-law gave to her daughter, she instantly understood what was going on. She originally thought that her daughter had already had a hairpin ceremony, so she thought that today was just a normal birthday. Her son-in-law was very considerate. Gu Jiao finally understood why this guy didn't give her a hairpin. It turned out that hairpins were really troublesome. Since she hadn't had a hairpin ceremony, she couldn't use a hairpin. Yao Shi's eyes immediately turned red. Jiao Jiao, I'll comb your hair. Yao Shi and the matriarch combed Gu Jiao's hair. Under everyone's witness, Gu Jiao completed her hairpin ceremony. The moon was in the sky. The bustling streets were left behind by the horses. Gu Chongqing rode the horse to a quiet alley. He dismounted and led the horse into the alley. Unknowingly, he arrived in front of a familiar courtyard. The courtyard's door was half open. From time to time, the laughter of women and children could be heard. It was accompanied by the voices of young men. It was a joyous atmosphere. Gu Chongqing paused at the door for a while. In the end, he didn't go in. He turned around and was about to get on the horse. But suddenly, little Jing Kong ran over. His small body squeezed through the gap in the door. "De Gidge, is it you?" Gu Chongqing turned around and looked at him. "It's me." "Jing Kong, who is it?" Yao Shi opened the half-closed door and saw Gu Chongqing outside. Her smile froze. Gu Chongqing was very surprised to see Yao Shi here. He was even more surprised by Yao Shi's unguarded smile. Although it quickly froze, he still saw it. He never knew that the depressed Yao Shi could be so happy. She was smiling like a child. "You." Yao Shi wanted to say something but stopped. Little Jing Kong looked at Gu Chongqing, then looked at Yao Shi and asked, "Benefactor Yao, do you know each other?" "Benefactor?" Most people wouldn't call him that. Gu Chongqing looked at him strangely. "Are you a monk?" Little Jing Kong explained seriously, "I was a monk before I came down the mountain. I'm not anymore." "Benefactor Yao is a pilgrim of our temple. I see her often. I'm very familiar with her. De Gidge, are you also here to celebrate Jiao Jiao's birthday?" Little Jing Kong said it based on his identity. But in Gu Chongqing's ears, he thought that Yao Shi and the little monk's family were just old friends. It was really a coincidence that he and his stepmother knew the same friend. Gu Chongqing said seriously, "No, I'm just passing by. Do you like birds?" Little Jing Kong tilted his head and thought for a while. "Yes." Gu Chongqing handed him a bird cage covered with a cloth hanging from the saddle. "This is for you." After saying that, he got on the horse and left without looking back. Little Jing Kong looked at the back of the horse and waved his little hand. "Thank you, De Gidge." The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_8964286/114969392. HTML Genius memorized this website's address. www.zhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 128. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated even faster. Millions of novels will be read for free. Novels that cannot be found on the internet will be available here. Yao Shi lifted the cloth of the birdcage to take a look. There was actually an eagle chick inside. Yao Shi asked little Jing Kong how he knew that big brother. Little Jing Kong told her how he was saved. I went to save little Chi and was almost hit by a carriage. It was Big Brother who saved me. Big Brother is so amazing. As he spoke, his eyes were full of admiration for Gu Chongqing. Yao Shi and Gu Chongqing had not lived together for 10 years. Her impression of Gu Chongqing was still from before he was 11 years old. At that time, Gu Chongqing believed someone's slanderous words and believed that Yao Shi killed his mother. Gu Chongqing did his best to oppose Yao Shi. His gaze towards Yao Shi was full of hatred. He also did not treat Gu Yan well. At first, Gu Yan did not understand and often went to find his 3 brothers. In the end, he always came back with bruises all over his body. Every time Marquis Gu found out, he would beat his 3 sons. But after the beating, someone would report it to the old madam. The ones who suffered losses were Yao Shi and Gu Yan. Yao Shi knew that Gu Chongqing did not beat Gu Yan, but he also did not save Gu Yan from his 2 brothers' evil clutches like how he saved little Jing Kong. Yao Shi's heart was sour. He could be kind to strangers, but why couldn't he be kind to Gu Yan? Forget it. 10 years had passed. She had already let it go. Gu Yan had a Jiaojiao. He lived a good life here in Jiaojiao. He did not need to go back to the residence to look at anyone's face. He also did not need to suffer any unnecessary harm. Big Brother is a good person. Little Jing Kong said as he hugged the birdcage. Yao Shi smiled bitterly but did not say anything. Gu Chongqing was a soldier of the Zhao country. He had the duty to protect the people of the Zhao country. He was a good person to everyone, but to her and Yan he was someone who wanted to eat their flesh and drink their blood. From little Jing Kong, Yao Shi found out that Gu Jiao had also met Gu Chongqing, but the 2 of them did not know each other's identity. Gu Chongqing didn't see Gu Yan. Even if he saw them, he probably wouldn't be able to guess each other's identities. Has Big Brother only come once? Yao Shi asked. Including today, it's 2 times. Little Jing Kong said. The first time was when she saved little Jing Kong and sent him home. This time, she was probably just passing by and thought that little Jing Kong was cute, so she brought him a bird. What else could he do? Could it be that he's here to celebrate Jiao Jiao's birthday? He was the one who saved Jiao Jiao's younger brother, not the Jiao Jiao who saved him. Moreover, no one would give a fierce little chick to a girl's birthday, right? That's right. Gu Chongqing brought over a chick. It was even a Falcon chick that was known as 1 in 100,000 divine birds. Little Jing Kong didn't know what an eagle was, he only felt that this baby bird was very big. Okay, from now on, you'll be called Little Jiao. Jiao Jiao, Jiao Jiao. Big Brother came just now. He gave me a bird. Little Jing Kong hugged the birdcage and went to look for Gu Jiao. Today, the small alley was very lively. Not long after Gu Chongqing left, Wu Yong came. He was ordered by Royal Prince An to send birthday gifts to Gu Jiao and Gu Yan. Royal Prince An's reason was very open and aboveboard. My Royal Prince received Marquis Gu's invitation and originally planned to personally come and congratulate him. However, he has not been well these few days, so he asked me to send birthday gifts to Miss Gu and young Master Gu. Since Marquis Gu sent the invitation first, then it was reasonable for Royal Prince and to send gifts. However, Yao vaguely remembered that Marquis Gu wrote Marquis Gu's residence on the invitation. How did Royal Prince and find this place? Gu Jiao asked. How did your Royal Prince know that we came to the capital? Wu Yong smiled. Royal Prince is also a student of the Imperial College. He saw the register of the Imperial College and knew that young Master Xiao also came to the Imperial College. He spent some effort to find this place. Gu Jiao snorted and sized Wu Yong up. I suddenly feel that you look a little familiar. Are you the thief from that night? Wu Yong shook his head like a rattledrum. I'm not. I'm not. Oh my God, it's been so long. How can you still remember? You were almost recognized. When Royal Princeton came, Xiao Lulang was not home. Xiao Lulang only heard about it afterwards. Xiao Liulong's gaze landed on Wu Yong. Wu Yong felt strange being stared at. He coughed lightly and said, Is Grand Aunt here? I'll go greet her. A meaningful light flashed through Xiao Liulong's eyes. Wu Yong went to the backyard to see the matriarch and gave her 2 boxes of delicious osmanthus cakes. The matriarch was very happy. Wu Yong saw that the Empress Dowager was in good spirits and was secretly relieved. In fact, Gu Jiao also felt that Wu Yong treated the old lady differently. Commandery Prince and was very strange when he first came. He said that he came to apologize to her for Zhuang Kai Dai, but who would come all the way to apologize empty-handed and only send the apology gift the next day? In fact, Royal Prince and was not unaware of his flaw. He just thought that Shi Yi did not have a better excuse. He only prayed that Gu Jiao would not be so smart to think of this flaw. Gu Jiao felt that the assassination that night was related to Royal Prince N. The more she looked at this guy called Wu Yong, the more he looked like the man in black who shot arrows at the matriarch that night. Gu Jiao did not know that Wu Yong missed and thought that they came to kill the matriarch. Therefore, Gu Jiao was very cautious of Wu Yong. When he went to see the matriarch, Gu Jiao stared at him from the side. Wu Yong could not even whisper a few words to the Empress Dowager. Halfway through, Gu Jiao asked little Jing Kong to call him over. However, he came back quickly. Wu Yong sighed and left resentfully. Royal Prince. In another alley near the Imperial College, Wu Yong got on the carriage and reported to Royal Prince and, Does she like the gift? Royal Prince and asked. Wu Yong was not sure. Wu Yong asked, Royal Prince, why don't you personally give the gift to Miss Gu? Royal Prince and sneered, There are many people in the capital who are watching this prince. This prince has to be careful with every move. If someone discovers this place, the Empress Dowager will not be able to hide. On the twins' birthday, the whole family had a fulfilling and happy day. When it was close to midnight, Madame Yao returned to the residence. The residence had been busy for a day and everyone was exhausted. The masters had gone to rest early. The servants still had unfinished work and yawned as they worked. When Madame Yao entered the courtyard, she was surprised to find Gu Jinyu waiting for her in the room. Madame Yao thought about how she had spent the birthday with the twins but neglected Gu Jinyu for an entire day. She felt very apologetic. She walked over and stroked Gu Jinyu's hair. She said, Sorry, Mother came back late. She had originally planned to return after lunch, but she really could not bear to leave Jiao Jiao and Yen. She had stayed there for a few hours. If Nurse Fong had not reminded her repeatedly, she would not have known that it was already so late. Gu Jinyu's face did not show any grievance or anger. On the contrary, she was very happy. Mother, do you know how many guests came today? Madame Yao was stunned. Her daughter did not sleep in the middle of the night to wait for her. So it was not because she felt wrong that she came back late, but because the banquet was too lively and she was happy until now? Madame Yao sat down beside her. She endured her fatigue and said with a smile, Did many come? Yes. Gu Jinyu recited the names of all the distinguished guests as if he was very familiar with them. He then emphasized the details of a few of them. Sir Zhang from the Imperial College is also here. He is the Minister of Justice, the next Chancellor of the Imperial College. That's great. Madame Yao smiled and nodded. Gu Jinyu continued, Although royal prince and did not come to the residence personally, he sent someone to give me a generous gift. Mother, look, these are all gifts from him. There are truly too many gifts today. Your daughter will not be able to use them all in this lifetime. Elder sister is not willing to return to the residence, so your birthday must be very shabby. Tomorrow, I will choose some valuable gifts to send to elder sister. Madame Yao thought that there was no need. Turning her head, she saw that royal prince and had indeed given her daughter a valuable gift, but it could not compare to what royal prince and had given the Jiao Jiao siblings. This time, there really was no need. Gu Jinyu continued to show off. The crown princess also gave your daughter a birthday gift. This was something that Gu Jinyu was most proud of. However, Madame Yao remembered something. When Wu Yang was talking with the matriarch, he seemed to have called out, "The Empress Dowager." His voice was a bit soft, so the matriarch did not hear it clearly. Madame Yao happened to walk past him and accidentally heard it. She should have heard wrong, right? How could Liolong's grand-aunt be the Empress Dowager? The Empress Dowager had not only personally made a pouch for her daughter, but also personally combed her daughter's hair for her coming-of-age ceremony? Even the princesses of the imperial family did not receive such treatment. I must be overthinking. Madame Yao shook her head. Mother, what did you say? Gu Jinyu did not hear clearly. Madame Yao returned to her senses. Nothing. I was saying that since these are gifts from guests, then you should keep them well. Gu Jinyu insisted. How can that be? I want to share them with elder sister. Madame Yao was very, very tired. She patted her hand. No need. You can keep them for yourself. She doesn't have many rooms and can't fit them all. Gu Jinyu still really wanted to give them to Gu Jiaojiao. She wanted Gu Jiaojiao to know that even if she was a daughter that had been brought back, she would still have limitless glory. No one could look down on her. Thinking of something, Gu Jinyu sighed. The only regret is that eldest brother was at the military camp the entire day and could not come back to attend my coming-of-age ceremony. Madame Yao could not bear to tell her that her eldest brother had just gone to Jiao Jiao's home. The directorate was not far from Marquis Ding and Fu. If Gu Chongqing wanted to, he would definitely be able to rush back to attend Gu Jinyu's coming-of-age ceremony. It could only mean that Gu Chongqing had not truly accepted Gu Jinyu in his heart. Madame Yao's impression of Gu Chongqing could not be considered good. He was a person without feelings. In the future, if you have nothing to do, don't go looking for your eldest brother. What's wrong? Gu Jinyu asked in confusion. Madame Yao held her hand and sincerely said, Listen to mother. Your eldest brother will not accept us. Oh. Gu Jinyu lowered her eyes and complied. She agreed verbally, but the next morning, when she heard that her eldest brother had returned to the manor, she immediately went to wander around Gu Chongqing's courtyard. Gu Chongqing had just finished practicing and came out to see her. He coldly asked, What is it? The novel was updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels were free to read. There were all kinds of novels that could not be found online. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642-826/114937257. HTML Genius remembered the website address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, zhbqg.com. Chapter 129. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated faster. Millions of novels will be read for free. All the novels that can't be found online will be available here. Great Aunt Zhaonyang, I'm coming. I missed you so much. Feng Lin shouted as he ran into the yard. Xiao Lulang, who was marking little Jing Kong's homework in the study, suddenly jerked his hand and drew a long ink mark on little Jing Kong's homework. It was a sunny day. The old lady was sitting on a rattan chair in the backyard. basking in the sun leisurely. From time to time, she would grab a handful of sunflower seeds and munch on them. Gu Jiao was cooking in the kitchen. Xiao Lulang waited in the study for a long time, but Feng Lin didn't come to find him. The silly boy who was chasing after him. He finally lost him. After greeting the old lady, Feng Lin went to the kitchen to find Gu Jiao. He told Gu Jiao about his journey. He took the waterway back to Song County and met his old parents. He also met his older sister who was already married and his younger sister who was about to get married. In order to support his education, one of the sisters married a widower and the other married a tea merchant who was over 50 years old. Feng Lin, who was already married, had no choice. Moreover, the widower was good to his sister. His sister was pregnant with his child. The couple lived a good life and was very filial to their parents. My sister's marriage. I broke it off. Feng Lin mumbled. Oh. Gu Jiao opened the lid of the pot and added a ladle of water. Feng Lin skillfully added a handful of firewood to the stove. Xiao Lulang, who was watching from outside the door, felt his temples throbbing. Boy, you're even more skilled than me at starting a fire for Jiao Jiao. That tea merchant is not a good person. He's so old and his son is older than me. And his reputation is terrible. I heard that he hit his wife. I don't want my sister to suffer after marrying him, so I returned the betrothal money to him and broke off the marriage. If it was the old Feng Lin, this marriage would definitely be impossible to break off. The tea merchant was in cahoots with the local government. Who could offend him? But Feng Lin had passed. He was already a high scholar. Not only that, he had also obtained a place in the Imperial College and was going to study in the capital. Feng Lin said to the tea merchant, "If you cancel the engagement today, I, Feng Lin, will owe you a favor. Otherwise, when I, Feng Lin, become successful in the future, the first person I will punish will be you." The tea merchant was frightened by Feng Lin's words. After much deliberation, he finally cancelled the engagement. Strictly speaking, I have to thank Lulang. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have been able to get in. Feng Lin was well aware of his own capabilities. Like Lin Chengye, he was not a gifted student. His grades were all obtained through hard work. Hard work was one aspect of it, but a good teacher was also a very important aspect. When Xiao Lulang was tutoring Lin Chengye, Feng Lin had listened to a lot and benefited a lot. There's also the spot for the Imperial College. I didn't expect that Lulang would give it to me. Isn't he afraid that he won't be able to become a top scorer? It's so risky. Feng Lin didn't know that it was Steward Lu who had interfered in the matter of the spot. He thought that Xiao Lulang had directly told the county magistrate to give it to him. Xiao Lulang wanted to give it to him, but with his current status, he couldn't bribe the county magistrate to do it. Fortunately, Steward Lu helped him. Xiao Lulang stood outside the door and glared at Feng Lin fiercely. Why don't you come and thank me? Can you thank me enough to thank my wife? Feng Lin was talking non-stop. Suddenly, he felt a chill on his back. He didn't know what was wrong with him. Gu Shaoshun and Gu Yen went out. Little Jing Kong looked at the hands of the sundial in the courtyard. Usually, they would only go out for an hour, according to little Jing Kong's rules. Today, they were out for more than 15 minutes. Little Jing Kong's obsessive-compulsive disorder was acting up again. He frowned seriously. They had been playing for so long that they didn't have any sense of time. Little Jing Kong decided to find his two playful brothers. He knew where they went. They went to an orchard near the market. It was free to enter, but if they wanted to pick their fruits, they had to buy them by the weight. Their fruits were fresh and not expensive. The grapefruit from a few days ago was quite good. They must have gone to pick grapefruit again. Little Jing Kong went to the grapefruit tree in the orchard. As expected, he saw Gu Yen. Gu Yen was sitting on a high branch and hugging the trunk in front of him tightly. However, Gu Shaoshun was nowhere to be seen. Little Jing Kong raised his head and looked at Gu Yen who was on the branch. "Brother Yen, why are you on the tree?" Gu Yen said coldly, "Because I'm more powerful." Little Jing Kong didn't have the ability to distinguish sarcasm from irony. He only understood the meaning of the words. "But you're obviously not powerful," he said seriously. Gu Yen was speechless. "Where's Brother Xiaoshun?" Little Jing Kong asked again. "He couldn't climb up, so he went to get a ladder." Gu Yen wouldn't admit that he couldn't climb down, so Gu Xiaoshun went to get a ladder and a rope to help him climb down. Little Jing Kong said, "It's getting late. You should go home. Come down." Gu Yen said, "I'm not coming down." Little Jing Kong put his hands on his hips. "Why don't you come down? You've already played over time today. I'm going to deduct your time tomorrow." Gu Yen stuck his tongue out at Little Jing Kong. "Fine, I won't come down. Come up and catch me if you can." Little Jing Kong really couldn't understand Brother Gu Yan's naughty behavior. He was only 3 years old, but he already didn't climb trees, let alone make funny faces at people. He was a mature child, but Brother Gu Yan still hadn't grown up. He was still a baby. "Don't tell me you don't dare to come down?" Little Jing Kong made a bold guess. "No, I don't," Gu Yan firmly denied. According to Little Jing Kong's strict observation, whenever Brother Yen lied, he would look left and right. He wouldn't dare to look at people directly. He was right on all 3 of them. "You just don't dare to come down." "I don't." "You're the one who doesn't dare to come up." "Why should I come up?" Gu Yen choked on her words. Gu Xiaoshun went to look for a ladder, but he didn't know where he went. Gu Yan's strength was almost used up. He felt that he couldn't hold on any longer. If Gu Xiaoshun didn't come up, he was afraid that he would fall down. Just when the atmosphere was awkward and anxious, Gu Chongqing, who was passing by, heard Little Jing Kong's voice. It wasn't that he deliberately walked in this direction, but this was the only way to get to Ma Qi-ding An's manor from the military camp. If not, he wouldn't have met Little Jing Kong last time. He heard Little Jing Kong's voice was a little anxious, as if he was arguing with someone. He paused for a moment, then urged his horse to go over. "What are you doing?" His horse stopped behind Little Jing Kong. Little Jing Kong raised his head, his big black eyes lit up. "Big brother, it's you. We meet again." "And?" Gu Chongqing nodded slightly. "Are you arguing with someone?" Little Jing Kong sighed. "No, it's one of my brothers. He climbed up a tree and can't get down. I'm worried to death." His words were exactly like, "It's my family's child who doesn't know any better. He climbed up a tree and can't get down. I'm worried to death." Gu Chongqing felt his eyelids twitch. He was only 3 years old, but he had the heart of a 30-year-old. He raised his head and looked at Gu Yen on the tree. Without saying anything, he flew up and carried Gu Yen down. Gu Yen was already exhausted, so he was easy to carry. Also, Gu Yen was very light. Gu Chongqing almost couldn't feel the weight of the person in his hands. Gu Yan's head was spinning. He didn't understand what was happening. When he regained his senses, he was already on the ground. And he blinked his eyes strangely and looked at the tall and strong man in front of him. He was stunned for a moment. Who are you?" Little Jing Kong explained. "He's Big Brother. The big brother who saved me last time and even gave me a bird." "Oh, that fierce little eagle was a gift from this big guy." "Big Brother Yen, what's wrong with your face?" Little Jing Kong asked. "What?" Gu Yen touched his face subconsciously. When he touched it, it didn't feel right. Little Jing Kong took out a small mahogany bronze mirror from his pocket and put it in front of Gu Yen. "See for yourself." Gu Yen looked at his red and swollen face in the mirror. He was so scared that he almost fainted. My face, why is it like this?" He was going to die. He was going to die. His handsome face was gone. "Maybe you were bitten by the insects on the tree. You have to see a doctor quickly," Gu Chongqing said. He remembered that the little girl was a doctor. He said, "Go back quickly." Gu Yen looked down at his swollen ankle. My ankle." Gu Chongqing paused and said, "I'll send you back." "And Gu Yen was stunned. Little Jing Kong nodded and said, "Thank you, Big Brother. You send Big Brother Yen back first. I'll wait here for Shaoshun Big Brother. Otherwise, I won't be able to find him when I come back later." Gu Chongqing looked at Little Jing Kong and said, "Can you do it by yourself?" Little Jing Kong patted his small chest. "Yes, I can. I'm very familiar with this place. I won't get lost." "That's good." Gu Chongqing mounted the horse and reached out his hand to Gu Yen. Gu Yen was stunned and didn't move. Gu Chongqing grabbed Gu Yen and put him on the saddle in front of him. Then, he held the reins tightly with both hands and held Gu Yen in his arms. Gu Yen had never been so close to anyone since he could remember, except for Gu Jiao. But Gu Jiao was his sister. They were fraternal twins and were together before they were born. Gu Yen felt very uncomfortable. He wanted to get off the horse, but he couldn't say the words to scold him. He couldn't tell whether he was frightened by the other party's imposing manner or the condition of his feet and face really scared him. Gu Yen sat on the saddle like a little quail and tried to distance himself from Gu Chongqing. But the saddle was only so big. Gu Yan's back bumped into Gu Chongqing's chest from time to time. Gu Yen gasped in pain and whispered, "Is it made of iron? Why is it so hard?" The road wasn't long. They soon arrived at their house. Gu Chongqing dismounted first and then looked at Gu Yen with a bitter face. "Can you get off?" Gu Yen used his sleeve to cover his swollen face. "It was so ugly. It was so embarrassing. Turn around. I'll get off by myself," he said. Gu Chongqing didn't move. He just looked at Gu Yen coldly. Gu Yan's hair stood on end. He stuck half of his head out from behind his sleeve. "I told you to turn around." Gu Chongqing directly carried him down. If this silly boy could get off, he would write his own name upside down. Gu Yen roared in his heart, "Ah! Even my own brother didn't carry me like this. Put me down." Gu Chongqing carried him into the courtyard and put him on a rattan chair. Gu Yen was so angry that smoke came out of his head. In the past, he would look good no matter how angry he was. But today, his face was swollen like a pig's head. Now that there was smoke coming out of his head, he looked like a cooked pig's head. He even had a death stare in his eyes. Gu Chongqing, who was usually reserved, couldn't help but laugh. Gu Yen couldn't beat him or scold him. His eyes were like daggers. Gu Chongqing suddenly narrowed his eyes. He stuck out his finger and flicked Gu Yan's forehead. Gu Yen was like a baby who couldn't sit still. He fell down. Baby Gu was stunned. Gu Chongqing directly laughed this time. If the people in the barracks saw this scene, they would be scared to death. Gu Chongqing, who was known as the Iron Face King of Hell, actually knew how to tease a child? He even made himself laugh? There was a saying in the barracks, "When the King of Hell laughs, the King of Hell's palace opens." Gu Chongqing would only laugh when he killed someone. Those who saw him laugh were all dead. Gu Yen hummed and turned around. He slapped Gu Chongqing's butt. Gu Chongqing went to the orchard and saw little Jing Kong with another 13 or 14-year-old boy. That boy must be Xiaoshuan's brother. Gu Chongqing didn't show up. He rode his horse to the barracks. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the Imperial College entrance examination. The preliminary exam was originally on the same day as the Imperial College. However, due to various reasons, the preliminary exam was brought forward by 2 days. It was on the 25th. There were 2 exams. One was arithmetic, and the other was poetry. It sounded simple, but the questions were very difficult. The number of questions was also very large. Xiao Lulang and Gu Jiao sent little Jing Kong to the examination hall. "Don't be nervous," Xiao Lulang said to the little guy. Little Jing Kong raised his small chin and said, "I'm not you. I won't be nervous." Gu Jiao squatted down and checked his small bag again, just like how you usually do at home. "Pay attention to your writing. There's no need to rush." The reason why she deliberately emphasized this was because little Jing Kong's only shortcoming was that his writing was too slow. Gu Jiao was worried that if the number of questions was too large, he would be anxious. Little Jing Kong patted his small chest. "Don't worry, Jiao Jiao. My handwriting is already very fast and very good now." Xiao Lulang looked at his arrogant little face and laughed. "You're so good. What rank do you plan to get?" Little Jing Kong said seriously, "I'll definitely get the first place." Most of the children who came to take the exam were 6 to 8 years old. Little Jing Kong was the youngest one. If it wasn't for the exam fee being as high as 1 tael of silver, Gu Jiao suspected that they wouldn't even allow such a young child to take the exam. Little Jing Kong took the exam and found his seat. He was the youngest candidate, but he was also the calmest one. The preliminary exam wasn't held in a booth. Instead, dozens of children sat in a large classroom with a large distance between them. When the bell rang, the invigilators in each examination hall began to distribute the exam papers. Little Jing Kong didn't feel any pressure to fill in the first few pages. However, when he reached the last 3 pages, he was dumbfounded. What are all these weird scribbles? They were Qi's folk rhyme, Chen's 5 characters 8 rhyme poems, and Zhao's 7 characters quatrains. They were all questions written in different languages. Gu Jiao and Xiao Lulang, who were outside the examination hall, heard the news. When they heard that there was a 3-language exam this year, they felt guilty. They had made a mistake. They forgot to teach little Jing Kong a foreign language. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. All the novels that can't be found online are available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/114933536. HTML Genius memorized the website address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Bikuj mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 130. Please scan the QR code below to download the app for more interesting content. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found on the internet are available here. Strictly speaking, the 2 of them couldn't be blamed for this. The exam papers of the Imperial College were different every year. Only 1 year had a foreign language exam, and that was 10 years ago. That exam paper had been sold out for a long time, so the people in the study room didn't copy it. Therefore, when Xiao Lulang went to the study room to buy the entrance exam papers of the Imperial College over the years, he didn't buy this one. Little Jing Kong was a very smart kid. He could learn everything that was taught to him seriously. If he didn't pass the exam, it would be the fault of the 2 adults. The examiners did have the intention to make things difficult for the prodigies this time. These prodigies were naturally smarter than ordinary people, so it was inevitable that they would be arrogant and conceited. The examiners wanted to give them a heads up during the exam and break their spirit. When the examiners started to mock the papers, as expected, the last 3 questions all failed. None of them got all the questions right. The most impressive one was that he wrote a complete 7-character quatrain from the state of Zhao, but he got 3 words wrong. The rest of the examinees only wrote a few words. The examiners were very happy. It seemed that this year's prodigies would be obedient in class. However, when they came to the last exam paper, they couldn't laugh anymore. Who was this? What was written all over it? This kid wrote it blindly, right? An examiner asked. Another examiner faintly felt that something was wrong. I think I've seen this kind of writing somewhere before. The 2 of them invited the most prestigious language teacher of the Imperial College over. After the teacher read it, he couldn't give a definite answer. I have to let my teacher read it. The teacher took little Jing Kong's exam paper to a house in the capital and found an old Sanskrit researcher who was over 70 years old. In the end, more than 10 old Sanskrit researchers concluded that this examinee wrote in Indian. It was said that Indian was a language created by Brahma, the guardian of Buddhism, so it was also called Sanskrit. "What did he write?" an examiner asked. The teacher said, "He wrote a Buddhist sutra." Everyone was speechless. What the F***ck? It took them a day to come up with the scripts and 3 days to translate the Buddhist scriptures in Little Jing Kong. For the first time, the examiners of the 10,000-year exam were confused by a student. Examiner 1, "I can't give marks." Examiner 2, "That's right, he didn't answer the questions according to the requirements." Examiner 3, "And the words are written in a way that I can't understand." Examiner 4, "Is it because he wrote in Sanskrit?" Examiner 4 was collectively beaten up. What kind of truth was that? In the end, Little Jing Kong entered the Imperial College in 7th place. Little Jing Kong was very upset. For the first time in his life, he tasted defeat. He had boasted in front of his bad brother-in-law that he would definitely get 1st place, but in the end, he only got 7th place. Little Jing Kong did not even have a good meal. It was rare that Gu Yen did not take the opportunity to ridicule him. He patted his little shoulder and said, "All right, you're already better than many kids. When I was your age, I couldn't even read a word." Little Jing Kong pondered seriously for a moment, then suddenly burst into tears. "Will I be as stupid as you when I grow up?" Wah! Gu Yen was speechless. How could I, a flunky, comfort a straight-A student? On the morning of October 27th, Xiao Lulang also started his entrance exam at the Imperial College. The Imperial College had been suspended for almost 4 years. Most of the original students rushed over to take the exam. There were 3 grades in the Imperial College. After entering the Imperial College, the ranking was not based on age, but on grades. Those with poor grades would enter the Justice Hall, Chongji Hall, and Guangya Hall. This was the 1st grade, and the semester was 1.5 years. Those with average grades would enter the Cultivation Hall and Sincerity Hall. This was the 2nd grade, and the semester was also 1.5 years. Finally, there was the Easygoing Hall. This was the highest grade in the Imperial College. Unlike the previous 5 halls, which were divided into classes, there was only 1 class in the Easygoing Hall. The probability of a new student entering the Imperial College was not high. Normally, they could only enter the Easygoing Hall after 3 years in the Imperial College. However, this year, there was a guaranteed spot in the Easygoing Hall. It was Royal Tutor Zhuang's grandson, Royal Prince, and was recognized as a young talent. When he was a hostage in the state of Chen, his talent was well known in the 6 states. Logically speaking, such a talented person could be valued by the imperial court without the need for imperial examinations. However, the Zhuang family had an ancestral rule that all descendants of the Zhuang family had to take the imperial examinations. Over the years, the Zhuang family had produced many talents in the imperial examinations. Of course, there were also some who failed the examinations. The Zhuang family was so powerful that it was normal for them to pass the examinations. However, if they failed the examinations, they would be ridiculed by the public. The Zhuang family did not care about the public's comments. They insisted that all the sons of the Zhuang family were sent to the examination. Royal Prince and did not disappoint. During the provincial examination, he was the top scorer in the capital. As everyone knew, the competition in the capital was the fiercest. Top scorer in the capital was also the rarest. Otherwise, the Imperial College would not have made an exception and guaranteed him entry into the Easygoing Hall. The Imperial College's grading speed was not exaggerated. After the examination on the 27th, the results were released on the morning of the 29th. This year's new students generally performed well. However, some of the older students who had been delayed for a few years due to the closed-door examination were slacking. Studying was like rowing a boat against the current. If you did not improve, you would fall behind. However, not all of the older students were like this. The quality of the Imperial College's teaching was unquestionable. As long as they put in some effort, their results would not be too bad. Unsurprisingly, most of the students who entered the Easygoing Hall were older students. However, when they were sorting out the last set of papers, they found an unfamiliar name. Xiao Lulang. Zheng Sai asked, "Where did this student come from? Has there ever been a student called Xiao Lulang in the Imperial College? Could it be a new student? Li Sai asked. Zheng Sai frowned. How could a new student do so well? This result could be ranked among the top in the easy-going hall. The two Sai officials checked Xiao Liulong's student record and found that he was really a new student. Moreover, he had surpassed the top scorer in the Yuzhou region in the provincial examination. Li Sai smiled. This is the first time a new student has entered the easy-going hall, right? He was inexplicably looking forward to it. Zhang Sai said coldly, "Don't forget, Princeton is also a new student. This student called Xiao Lulang was just lucky. The title of the new student king will definitely be Prince, and Li Sai did not dare to refute this. Even though Prince and did not participate in the entrance examination, anyone with a discerning eye could see that his talent was above the older students in the easy-going hall. If he took the exam, would the first place belong to anyone else? Of course, this new student was also dazzling enough. Li Sai kept an eye on him and looked through his student records and information. Then, he realized something. He can't be the examinee who wrote in favor of removing the vassals and scolded the emperor so badly, right? At the time, the matter was a bit big. All of the invigilators in Yuzhou were shocked. The main invigilator who was sent to Yuzhou to preside over the provincial examination was Li Sai's good friend. After he returned to the capital, he told Li Sai about the article in private. Li Sai's eyelids twitched when he heard it. Did that student not want to live? He dared to slander the emperor like that? He did not dare to give too high a score for this test. He was afraid that if the emperor wanted to see it, the emperor would be angry and fall ill. However, he could not stop him from doing too well in the first and third tests. Overall, he still had to understand the yuan. Therefore, this was a very strong student. He definitely did not enter the easy-going hall by luck. However, Li Sai could not explain so much to Zheng Sai. The Imperial College's examination did not have a ranking. It only showed the student's class. Xiao Lulang entered the easy-going hall. Feng Lin entered the second-grade Sincerity Hall. Lin Qingye also entered Sincerity Hall. The difference was that Feng Lin was in Class A of Sincerity Hall, while Lin Qingye was in Class B. On the other side, Gu Yan and Gu Xiaoxuan's private school was also settled. It was in the Qinghe Academy near the Imperial College. The procedures were completed and they could enter the school next month. Gu Jiao made a table full of delicious dishes and called Feng Lin and Lin Qingye to the house to celebrate the start of the school year. The capital became cold at the end of October. It was said that the first snow had already fallen on the mountain top of the Hugua Dragon Temple. It would probably snow in the city soon. The silver charcoal that Gu Jiao had stockpiled earlier was put to use. She bought a few hand heaters and put the silver charcoal in them. They could be warm for 2 hours. When they came back at noon, she would replace them with new charcoal. Now the price of charcoal had risen again. Fortunately, Gu Jiao had the foresight to stockpile enough charcoal and save a lot of money for the family. On the first day of school, little Jing Kong wanted to send them to the Jiaojiao. Gu Jiao sent him and Xiao Lulang to the Imperial College. After that, she sent Gu Xiaoxun and Gu Yan to the Qinghe Academy. When she returned to the house inn by Shui Hadong, the old lady had just woken up and was sitting on a rattan chair in the backyard playing with the baby eagle that Gu Chongqing sent. This baby eagle was picked up by Gu Chongqing at the bottom of the cliff. It should have fallen from the cliff not long after it was born. As for whether it fell on its own or was slapped down by its mother's wings, it was unknown. In short, its mother seemed to have forgotten to pick it up. Even so, it did not accept its fate. It stubbornly struggled to stand up. Its small body seemed to hide a great power. A thin little figure quickly appeared in Gu Chongqing's mind. He brought the baby eagle back and brought it to the hutong. The people in the hutong knew nothing about the baby eagle's origin. They only thought that it was a gift from his big brother, just as little Jing Kong said. The baby eagle was very fierce. Whoever fed it in the family would be pecked by it. But the old lady had a unique skill. The old lady opened the chicken coop. Little Jing Kong's 7 chicks swaggered out. They were very brave chicks. Without any fear, they entered the cage of the young eagles. Then, they lined up just like how little Jing Kong would usually sneak them out. Each of the chicks took a mouthful of raw meat and fed it to the young eagles. The baby eagle had 7 chicks. It was very obedient and waited to be fed. The old lady looked at it happily. Gu Jiao came over and said, "Great aunt, I'm going to the military camp to give something to second uncle Go Hua." When they left the village, Xue Ningxiang asked them to give a letter and a few thick winter clothes to second uncle Go Hua. There was also a protective talisman that Xue Ningxiang got from the temple. Gu Jiao also added a jar of pickled vegetables and jerky that she made herself. The old lady nodded. "Go ahead." There were several military camps in the capital. The Gu family was going to Hushan military camp. It was not too far away. If they were fast, they would arrive in half an hour. Gu Jiao hired a carriage. When they arrived at the military camp, the soldiers were training. They could hear the vigorous voices of the soldiers from afar. The carriage stopped outside the military camp. A soldier came over and stopped the carriage. "Who are you?" Gu Jiao got out of the carriage and said to him, "I'm looking for someone. He's Deputy General Hu's subordinate. His name is Zhou Erzwang. Go Hua's father was Zhou Dazhuang." The soldier looked at Gu Jiao from head to toe and said impatiently, "Visitors are forbidden in the military camp. Leave quickly." Gu Jiao said, "Just for a while." The soldier said coldly, "That's not allowed." Gu Jiao said, "I've brought something for him. I'll leave after giving it to him." The soldier became more and more impatient. "Leave it here. I'll send it to you later." In Zhou Erzwang's letter, he mentioned that some soldiers would embezzle the things that were sent to them. Gu Jiao still wanted to hand it to him personally. "When will they finish training?" "I'll wait for him here." The soldier frowned. "Hey, what's wrong with you? Is the military camp a place where you can stay as you wish? How do I know that you're not a spy?" "I'm not," Gu Jiao said. The soldier shouted, "You think you're not a spy just because you say so? I'll say that you are." "What's going on?" A dignified voice came from the direction of the military camp. The soldier turned to look and immediately bowed respectfully. "Sir Lieutenant, there's a woman here. She said that she's looking for someone from our military camp, but they're training now. I told her to go back first. I'll send the things in later." The sir walked out of the military camp and came to the two of them. The soldier bowed even lower. The sir's gaze fell on Gu Jiao's face. "It's you." Gu Jiao nodded. "It's me." The soldier was stunned. "You two know each other?" No matter how he looked at it, this little girl didn't look like she came from a good family. How did she know the sir? And when the sir spoke to her, he didn't seem as scary as usual. What happened to the iron-faced Yama? Gu Chongqing looked at Gu Jiao. "You know someone in the military camp?" Gu Jiao nodded again. "Yes, we're from the same village. His family is next door to me. His family asked me to bring him something." Gu Chongqing asked, "What's his name? Who's his subordinate?" Gu Jiao said, "Zhou Erzwang. He's Deputy General Hu's subordinate." Gu Chongqing said, "You came at a bad time. Deputy General Hu has just been transferred to the Qishan military camp. The Qishan military camp is very far from here. If you go there now, you won't be able to come back at night. Give me the things and I'll bring them over for you tomorrow." "Thank you." Gu Jiao moved the things down. The soldier was dumbfounded. What was this little girl's background? How could she make the sir personally run errands for her? Gu Chongqing looked at the soldier. "Don't you know that Deputy General Hu is no longer in the military camp?" The soldier choked. I. Gu Chongqing's gaze was like a knife. "You knew, but you didn't tell her. You even let her leave the things here. I think you want to pocket it for yourself." The soldier's legs went soft. "I don't dare." Gu Chongqing said coldly, "So you don't know? As a sentry, you don't even know that there's such a big transfer in the military camp. That's dereliction of duty. Sir, please have mercy." The soldier fell to his knees. If Gu Chongqing had mercy, he wouldn't be the iron-faced king of hell. The soldier was finally dragged away and punished with 100 canes. He almost lost half his life. Gu Chongqing wasn't helping Gu Jiao vent her anger. He had always been very strict with his subordinates. Gu Jiao handed the things to Gu Chongqing and went back in the carriage. Before she left, Gu Jiao asked him to tell Zhou Erzwang her address. If anything happened to Zhou Erzwang, he could go to her home to find her. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more complete. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642/826/114899923. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, m. zhbqg.com. Chapter 131. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that cannot be found online are all available here. On the first day of school, Gu Jiao was actually a little worried about Xiao Lulang and little Jing Kong. Little Jing Kong was too young. Facing a completely unfamiliar environment and a group of prodigies whose intelligence was not inferior to his, Gu Jiao was not sure what kind of reaction he would have in the elementary school. Xiao Lulang was being watched by someone. She was not sure if the other party would do something to make things difficult for Xiao Lulang in the Imperial College. Unexpectedly, after a day, little Jing Kong and Xiao Lulang were fine. Instead, it was Gu Yan's side that was in trouble. The cause of the incident was when Gu Yan and Gu Xiaoshun entered the school. The two had the same foundation and were assigned to the same class. Qinghe Academy was an academy with excellent teachers. Thus, many young masters from aristocratic families would come here to study. Among them were the two young masters of Marquis Ding and Fu, Gu Chengfeng and Gu Chenglin. Qinghe Academy originally had many students from the Imperial College. When the Imperial College reopened, everyone returned to the Imperial College. Qinghe Academy suddenly had many empty spots. Gu Chengfeng and Gu Chenglin both transferred over. However, the two were older than Gu Yan and Gu Xiaoshun. They also studied more than the two, so they were assigned to another class. The two classes happened to face each other. There was a small garden in between. Gu Chenglin was waiting for his second brother in the garden. Coincidentally, Gu Yan walked past him with a bag of books in his arms. Gu Chenglin glanced at Gu Yan and felt that he looked familiar. It was as if he had seen him somewhere before. Then, he heard someone call him, Gu Yan. Gu Chenglin's expression immediately changed. Gu Yan, Gu Yan. Wasn't that sickly younger brother called Gu Yan? No wonder he looked so familiar. He looked like their father. Gu Chenglin knew that Yao Shi's twins had also come to the capital. However, they had not returned to the manor and were being raised outside. He did not expect to run into them so quickly. Strange, didn't the imperial physician say that this sickly child wouldn't live past 15? She was already 15 years old, so how could she still be so lively? Gu Chenglin walked over with a whoosh and blocked Gu Yan's path. Your name is Gu Yan? Gu Yan was only 4 years old when he left the capital. He had long forgotten what his family looked like, so he did not recognize Gu Chenglin. However, this did not prevent Gu Yan from sensing Gu Chenglin's ill intentions. Gu Yan frowned slightly. Who are you? Gu Chenglin rudely poked Gu Yan's shoulder with his finger and rudely said, Boy, I'm asking you a question. You'd better answer honestly. Is your name Gu Yan? Gu Yan was not intimidated by his imposing manner. He looked at him fearlessly. So what if I am? So what if he wasn't? What does it have to do with you? This calm appearance made Gu Chunlin very unhappy. Gu Chunlin originally planned to teach him a lesson if he was his sickly younger brother. If he wasn't, then he would let him go. But now, Gu Chunlin changed his mind. This boy was actually not afraid of him and was even glaring at him. Very good, if he did not teach him a lesson, he would not know who he was. When Gu Xiaoshun returned to the classroom after collecting his and Gu Yan's books, he found that Gu Yan had disappeared. He went to the latrine to look for Gu Yan but did not see any trace of him. Gu Xiaoshun wanted to ask his classmates, but they all entered the school on the same day and did not know each other. Gu Xiaoshun scratched his head. Could it be that he went back first? That's impossible. He said he would wait for me. Gu Xiaoshun thought of Gu Yan's heart disease. He secretly guessed that Gu Yan might have fainted somewhere because of his heart disease. Hey, I just saw your brother go to the back door. Gu Xiaoshun was anxious and angry. A shabbily dressed scholar cautiously stopped him. The scholar did not dare to say that Gu Yan was taken away by the nobleman from the opposite class. He was afraid of getting into trouble. He only reminded him, "Hurry up and look for him. Don't tell anyone that I told you." Hey, thank you, brother. Gu Xiaoshun did not think much. He patted the scholar's shoulder and strode to the back door of the academy. At this time, Gu Yan had already been dragged into the woodshed at the back door of the academy by Gu Chunlin and a few of his bad friends. No one usually came to this woodshed. Gu Chunlin had people tie Gu Yan up and gagged him with a cloth. He locked him in the dark woodshed. Gu Yan was locked in a small dark room by his own brother. The fear of childhood welled up in his heart. When he was 4 years old, he was also locked in a dark and narrow room. He cried and screamed at the top of his lungs. In the end, he could not even cry. That kind of fear and despair was something that he could not forget no matter how many years passed. Gu Yan fell on the dirty and cold floor. He only felt that there was an invisible hand in the darkness pressing down on his chest. He began to gasp for breath. The secret guard that the old Marquis gave him was sent to do something else. He was not by his side. If not, Gu Chongqing would have guessed his identity from the old Marquis's secret guard. Gu Chunlin and the others had already left. It was as if no one had ever come here. Gu Yan let out a desperate cry. Unfortunately, no one could hear his voice. Gu Xiaoshun was anxious and angry. Oh, where did Gu Yan go? Gu Yan! Gu Yan! Gu Yan heard Gu Xiaoshun's cry. He struggled, but he could not let Gu Xiaoshun hear him. Gu Xiaoshun's voice was further away. Gu Yan was desperate. He struggled on the ground, trying to move to the door. But his heart suddenly hurt violently. His heart disease was acting up. He had the medicine that his sister gave him, but he could not get it. Gu Jiao sat in the carriage. She suddenly felt her heart hurt. "Please hurry up," she urged the coachman. "Okay." The driver sped up. But the thing that Gu Jiao did not want to see the most happened. "The crown princess is out. Everyone, please leave." The entire street was filled with imperial guards who were holding wooden boards to avoid the carriage. The carriage's path was immediately blocked. Gu Yan felt like he was going to die. He lay on his side on the ground. His hands and feet were tied. He struggled until he lost all his strength. He looked fearfully into the darkness and choked, "Sister, I'm in so much pain." On the way back to the classroom, one of Gu Qinglin's friends asked, "Second young Master Gu, will something happen to that boy?" Gu Chunlin did not care and said, "What can happen? Can't you see that he's alive and kicking? I'm just locking him up for a few hours to teach him a lesson. Let's see if he dares to glare at me the next time he sees me." "That's true." The few of them laughed as they escorted Gu Chunlin back to the classroom. Gu Yan's breath became weaker and weaker. He could not even feel the pain anymore. He knew that he could not fall asleep. Otherwise, he might never wake up again. But he was too tired. He could not hold on any longer. Clang! Before he lost his last bit of consciousness, the door was kicked open. A glaring light suddenly shone in. Gu Yen opened his eyes and saw a tall and powerful man. He stood in front of him against the light like a god. Gu Chongqing broke the ropes that tied his hands and feet with his bare hands. He bent down and carried him out of the room. Gu Yen leaned into the other person's arms. He was a little dazed. He grabbed the other person's clothes as if he was grabbing onto his last life-saving straw. He opened his mouth. Gu Chongqing lowered his head. "What did you say?" Gu Yen said weakly, "Medicine." Gu Chongqing put Gu Yen down and began to look for medicine on him. After a while, he found a small porcelain bottle. He poured out 2 pills and fed them into Gu Yan's mouth. Gu Chongqing took off the water pouch from the saddle and fed Gu Yen some water. Gu Yan's face was not so pale. His heart did not hurt as much, but he was still very weak. He did not even have the strength to speak. Gu Yen recognized him. He raised his hand and grabbed his clothes. He only used 2 thin fingers to grab a little, like a weak and wronged cat. Gu Chongqing sighed helplessly. "I'll take you home first." Gu Chongqing happened to pass by and heard a weak whimper. At first, he thought it was a cat. Later, he felt that something was wrong, so he jumped over the wall and came to the woodshed. He was a martial artist. His hearing was excellent. If it was someone else, they would not have been able to hear Gu Yan's movements. Gu Yen sat on Gu Chongqing's horse again. Last time, he still had the strength to keep a distance from him. This time, it was all over. He was like a snail without a shell. He leaned weakly on Gu Chongqing's chest. Gu Yen still felt that his chest was very hard. But it was also very warm. Gu Yen suddenly felt a trace of stability and peace of mind. This was the first time Gu Yen had this kind of feeling from someone other than Gu Jiao. Gu Yen did not have the strength. To prevent him from falling, Gu Chongqing held the reins with one hand and held his waist with the other. The strength in his arms was different from that of Jiao Jiao. It was the masculine strength that only belonged to men. When Gu Chongqing sent Gu Yen home, Gu Yen was already asleep. Gu Jiao just arrived at the door and bumped into the two. Gu Jiao looked at Gu Yen. Her eyes suddenly became cold. Gu Yan's breath had stabilized. But his clothes were dirty and his face was scratched. It was obvious that something bad had happened. Gu Chongqing said, "I found him in the academy's woodshed. You can ask him the details when he wakes up." Gu Jiao took Gu Yen and thanked Gu Chongqing. "Thank you." Gu Chongqing sat on the horse and said expressionlessly, "You also saved me. We're even." Gu Jiao did not say anything. She carried the sleeping Gu Yen back to the house. When old Madame Fu saw her baby Yen in this state, she was so angry that her hair stood on end. Which bastard did this? She had never guessed that it was Gu Yen who had fallen down by herself. Gu Yen was not so careless. Moreover, there would not be bruises on his wrists from falling. Gu Jiao took out her stethoscope and listened to Gu Yan's heartbeat. Then she found Gu Yan's small medicine bottle. She put 2 emergency pills in it, just enough for 1 dose. Now that the medicine was gone, it meant that his heart disease had acted up. Fortunately, he took the medicine in time. Otherwise, he would be looking at a cold corpse now. Gu Shaoshun did not find Gu Yen in the academy. He asked for leave from the headmaster and ran home to look for Gu Yen, only to find that Gu Yen was injured. "How did this happen?" he asked. "I just went to get a book." Gu Jiao said, "Go back to the academy for class first and ask for leave for Gu Yen." Oh. Gu Shaoshun did not dare to disobey his sister. He went back to the academy. Gu Jiao did not go anywhere. She sat by the bed and waited for Gu Yen to wake up. "Who did this?" Gu Jiao asked. Gu Yen lowered his eyes and clenched his fists. Gu Jiao was his sister, so she could empathize with his emotions. "You know each other? An acquaintance?" Gu Yan's eyes dimmed. Not just an acquaintance. It was someone who was related to him by blood. Chapter 132. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. Gu Changlin wanted to teach the other party a lesson, but he didn't dare to really kill him. He hurriedly asked the coachman to drive the carriage back to the academy and sneaked into the woodshed from the back door to take a look. There were signs of a struggle in the woodshed, and there were even a few drops of blood on the ground. The rope was broken, and it didn't look like it was cut by a sharp weapon, but more like it was torn apart by someone. Gu Changlin held the rope and said to Gu Changfeng, "Second brother, look, that kid still has the strength to break the rope. I told you he's fine." Gu Changfeng also breathed a sigh of relief. It's best that he didn't die. Whether he's that Gu Yen or not, don't casually find trouble with him in the future. You're not a child anymore, don't be as willful as before. If Big Brother finds out, he'll punish you again. I know, if you don't say anything and I don't say anything, who dares to tell Big Brother? Does he dare? Gu Changlin glared at the coachman. The coachman hurriedly lowered his head. I don't dare. Gu Changlin smiled proudly. All right, second brother, let's go back. Don't let it slip. Gu Changfeng shook his head and sighed, and sat on the carriage back to the residence with his younger brother. The two of them thought that this matter was over, but early the next morning, Gu Changlin felt a chill on the back of his head. He choked on cold water and even fell while walking. He said sullenly, "What luck?" The two of them entered the academy together. Gu Changfeng was slightly more studious than Gu Changlin, and went to the teacher to hand in his homework first. Gu Changlin looked like he was idle, and couldn't sit still as if there were nails on the stool. He went to the latrine. Just as he walked to the latrine, one of his friends from yesterday came over. That person's face was still injured, and his eyes were full of fear. Third young Master Gu, someone is looking for you." "Who's looking for me?" Gu Changlin glanced at him. "Did you fight with someone?" That person smiled awkwardly. It's good that it was a fight. He was simply being pushed to the ground and rubbed against by someone. Gu Changlin relied on his awe-inspiring elder brother to do whatever he wanted in all the major academies. No one dared to provoke him, so he naturally did not think that fighting with others was scary. At most, he would call a few more people and beat the other party up. Gu Changlin wanted to see who was so arrogant as to trouble him to meet him personally. That person brought Gu Changlin to the woodshed where they had locked up Gu Yen yesterday. Outside the woodshed, there were already people kneeling on the ground. They were all Gu Chinglin's friends who had been at the crime scene yesterday. Everyone stared at the bird's nest head with a swollen nose and swollen face. His head was crooked and his mouth was slanted. His whole body trembled. Gu Chinglin's first reaction was confusion. His second reaction was anger. These were all his people. It didn't matter if he hit them, but if others hit them, it meant that they didn't give him, Gu Changlin, face. Who did it? He roared. Everyone wanted to say something but stopped. They looked at him sympathetically and lowered their heads, not daring to say anything. Although they usually called each other brothers and went through fire and water together, that was under the premise that their lives were not in danger. Now that their lives were about to be lost, third young Master Gu, you're on your own now. Gu Changlin rolled up his sleeves and said arrogantly, "Which coward is it? You don't have the guts to come out and see me, right?" As soon as he finished speaking, a white hand reached out from the woodshed and grabbed Gu Chinglin's collar. She dragged him in without any hesitation. Gu Changlin didn't even have time to scream before he heard the door close with a bang. "You know that I'm you're if you hit me again, I'll woo." Gu Chinglin's initial clamor gradually turned into a whimper for mercy. However, no matter how much he begged, Gu Jiao did not let him go. When Gu Yen was so helpless, did this guy let Gu Yen go? Gu Yen, who didn't cause any trouble, was bullied by him. How could he, who had no reason to cause trouble, be let off? Gu Changlin was beaten until he screamed like a pig being slaughtered. The group of scoundrels outside could feel the pain just by hearing it. They originally thought that they were pitiful, but after seeing what happened to Gu Chenglin, they realized that the girl had gone easy on them. "Why aren't you calling for help?" "Ah," Gu Chenglin roared. "Calling for help? Who would dare? This girl could smash their heads with one punch." Gu Jiao beat Gu Chenglin until he couldn't even recognize his own father. Then, she lifted his chin with a cold stick, forcing him to look into her cold eyes in the dark. "In the future, do you still dare to touch my little brother?" "What little brother?" Gu Qinglin's brain was about to explode. It took him a while to realize who Gu Jiao was referring to. His hair stood on end. "You're that guy's sister?" His name was also Gu Yen, and he also had an older sister. This time, he couldn't be mistaken, right? That guy was the bastard child of his father and the Yao family. This detestable brat was also the same. "My little brother almost died. You'd better experience it for yourself." Gu Jiao pressed the wooden stick against his throat. He was pressed down until he couldn't breathe. I didn't want to kill him." Gu Chenglin swore that he only wanted to teach Gu Yen a lesson. Who knew that he really almost died? Gu Jiao didn't care about this. Her little brother almost died, so he also wanted to go to hell. Gu Chenglin didn't go to the classroom after class. Gu Chengfeng searched for him for a long time but couldn't find him. He thought of the small woodshed where Gu Chenglin locked up Gu Yen and ran there to take a look. Sure enough, he found Gu Chenglin tied up and covered in bruises. "Third brother. Third brother. Third brother." Gu Chenglin's dull eyes finally focused. He hugged Gu Chengfeng. "Second brother. Second brother. Second brother." His whole body trembled so much that it scared Gu Chengfeng. "You. What happened to you? Who dares to bully you?" Consort Shu was their aunt, the fifth prince was their cousin, and they even had an iron-faced Yama who was a commandant in the military camp. Just based on this identity, no one dared to bully them in a small place like Qinghe Academy. But the scene in front of him was all real. Gu Chengfeng had never seen Gu Chenglin so scared. Gu Chenglin trembled for a long time before he found his voice again. "It's that bastard. He's Gu Yen. He actually dared to let people beat me. I want to go back and tell Big Brother. Let Big Brother teach him a lesson." Gu Chengfeng was puzzled. "He has the guts. But, you were the one who locked him up first. Even if you tell Big Brother may not stand up for you." Gu Chenglin felt wronged. "What's wrong with me locking him up? He's the son of that vixen. He deserves to be locked up. And I only locked him up. I didn't beat him up. Look at how his sister beat me up." Gu Chengfeng looked at his little brother carefully. He was really pitiful. His sister? The girl who grew up in the countryside? Other than her, does he have another sister? The light in the small woodshed was too dim. Gu Chenglin actually didn't see Gu Jiao's face clearly, but he heard that Gu Jiao's voice was very young, about the same age as Gu Jinyu. She should be Gu Yan's twin sister. Gu Chengfeng was puzzled. Wasn't there a rumor in the manor that the girl grew up in the countryside, was timid and afraid of trouble, and didn't even dare to return to the manor? She actually had the guts to beat Gu Chengfeng up? "Doesn't she know who you are?" Gu Chengfeng asked. "How would I know if she knows?" Gu Chenglin was beaten black and blue. How could he remember to ask her? "What about your friends?" Gu Chengfeng asked again. Gu Chenglin choked. "Second brother, don't mention them. A bunch of useless trash. They can't even beat a country girl." Gu Chengfeng gasped. He knew his younger brother's bad friends. A few of them had some skills. How could they lose to a girl? No matter what, the other party must have beaten Gu Chenglin until he was scared. Otherwise, Gu Chenglin wouldn't really think of using his elder brother to support him. Gu Chengfeng also felt that the other party had gone too far. If she really wanted to get back at him, she could have just locked Gu Chenglin up. Why did she have to hurt him? Gu Chengfeng thought for a while and said, "But if my elder brother knows that you locked someone else up first, he will definitely punish you first." Gu Chenglin clenched his fists. Let me think about how to tell my elder brother. He was scared of being beaten up by that girl. If his elder brother didn't stand up for him, he was afraid that he wouldn't dare to go to Qinghe Academy for the rest of his life. Gu Chongqing still didn't know that his younger brother had made up his mind to sue Gu Yen. He went to the Mount Qi barracks during the day and delivered the things that Gu Jiao gave him to Zhou Erzwang. He wasn't from the Mount Qi barracks and had little contact with them. Everyone was puzzled as to why he came. When they found out that he was delivering things to a small squad leader, they couldn't help but feel surprised. Deputy General Hu called Zhou Erzwang to his tent. How do you know Gu? Zhou Erzwang expressed that he didn't know him. Deputy General Hu frowned. You don't know what he gave you personally? Do you know how long it takes to come here from the Mount Qi barracks? Zhou Erzwang was confused. I really don't know him. Deputy General Hu saw that Zhou Erzwang didn't seem to be lying, but Ergu wouldn't run errands for a small squad leader for no reason. If Zhou Erzwang didn't have a background, then the person who asked Ergu to run errands had a background. Zhou Erzwang suddenly said, "Oh, my neighbor in the countryside is quite good at studying." This time, he passed the autumn imperial examination and came to the Imperial College to study. My sister-in-law asked them to deliver the things to me. So, that student from the Imperial College got to know Ergu? Although Deputy General whose official position was higher than that of a military officer, he was already 40 years old. How old was Gu Chongqing? Moreover, what was his background? What was Gu Chongqing's background? Deputy General Hu cleared his throat and said to Zhou Erzwang, "In a few days, we will be selecting a squad leader. Do your best." This meant that he was going to promote Zhou Erzwang. Zhou Erzwang's name sounded stupid, but he wasn't stupid. He understood tacitly and said, "Rest assured, General Hu. I will do my best." "Okay, you can go now." After Gu Chongqing left the barracks, he rushed back without stopping. When he passed by Chong and Main Street, he subconsciously slowed down. In the past, he would take another alley, but today, he took by Shui Alley. The sky was already dark, and the autumn wind was bleak. Every family hung up lanterns. Gu Jiao was busy cooking in the kitchen, and Xiao Lulang was in the study correcting little Jing Kong's homework. Because of his failure in the exam, little Jing Kong's daily schedule after school was not only added writing practice, but also learning 6 languages. Today, he learned a nursery rhyme from the Chen state. Xiao Lulang picked out the key words in the rhyme and asked little Jing Kong to write down each word from memory 10 times. Little Jing Kong went to the yard to practice after he finished writing, leaving teacher Xiao alone to correct his homework. Little Jing Kong's small body was curled up on a tree. His hands were holding his feet behind him. This movement was very difficult, but little Jing Kong was obviously used to this kind of discomfort. Gu Xiaoshun was carving wood at the side, and Gu Yen was lying on a rattan chair to recuperate. He was still very weak, and his face was pale. In fact, Gu Chongqing had already noticed something wrong when he gave him the medicine. He might have some kind of hidden disease. Although he looked no different from a normal person, once he got sick, he might die. So if he had come a little later yesterday, the other party would have. Gu Chongqing frowned. He could not figure out who on earth was, and what kind of deep hatred did they have to tie up a weak young man and put him in the woodshed. Gu Chongqing did not disturb anyone in the house, and left silently for the Lord Protector's mansion. Gu Qinglin's servant had been waiting for him at the gate of his yard. Seeing him come back, the servant rushed to him. "Prince." "Oh no. Third young master has been bullied. Please go and see third young master." Gu Chongfeng went to Gu Chunglin and Gu Chungfeng's yard. Gu Chunglin lay on the bed. He had purposely not allowed the manners doctor to treat his injuries so that he could show his miserable state in front of his eldest brother. Gu Chongqing looked at his miserable brother, and his face turned cold. "What trouble did you get into this time?" Gu Chunglin cried, "I didn't get into trouble this time. I just transferred to another school 2 days ago. What trouble can I get into, brother? Am I that immature in your eyes?" Gu Chongqing was not moved at all. "If you didn't get into trouble, why did he beat you?" "How would I know?" Gu Chunglin had already made up his mind to insist that he was innocent, and that he did not even touch a finger of the other party. He was not afraid that his brother would investigate, because once his brother found out that the other party was Gu Yen, he would say that Gu Yen must have found someone to beat him up because of what happened when they were young. This reason was simply too flawless. "Where did he beat you up?" Gu Chongqing asked. This could be said truthfully. Half-truths and half-lies would make it easier to convince people. Gu Chunglin choked. "The woodshed of the academy. If you don't believe me, you can go to the woodshed. There are marks all over the ground." When he heard the woodshed, Gu Chongqing's eyes turned cold. Digression. There was a bug in yesterday's update, and I sorted out the young masters of the Marquis' household. Gu Chongqing, heir, eldest. Gu Chengfeng, second. Gu Chenglin, third, the one who bullied Baby Yen. Asterisk also, let's talk about the evaluation votes. I saw that some readers gave me 3 stars for 2 days in a row. I don't know if it's because I didn't write well, or if the system gave me 3 stars by default. If it's a system problem, please move your fingers and fill up the stars next time you vote. Thank you very much, Bao. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/114865892. HTML Genius remembers this site's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, m. zhbqg.com. Chapter 133. The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all available here. Gu Chongqing hoped that it wasn't what he thought. Did she not only beat you, but also tied you up and locked you in the firewood room, not letting you out? Gu Chenglin was startled. Big brother, how did you know? Gu Chongqing clenched his fists. He suppressed his boiling anger and asked, "Was the one who beat you a little girl?" Gu Chenglin was even more dumbfounded. No way, his big brother was so amazing. He could even tell that the injuries on his body were caused by a woman? At this point, what didn't Gu Chongqing understand? He had guessed correctly. It was this brat who had bullied the other person's little brother first, so the other person had come to return the favor. And this brat still dared to shamelessly say that he was innocent. How did the Marquis estate raise a piece of trash like you? Gu Chongqing finished speaking and casually tidied him up. Gu Chenglin was simply dumbfounded. What was going on? How did he get beaten again? Gu Chenglin, who had been beaten up, didn't realize that he had been exposed. He continued to act, "Big brother, what are you doing? I was beaten because I didn't have the ability. But who told grandfather to only teach you martial arts and not me and second brother? Otherwise, I could beat them back myself. Why would I look for you?" Speaking of this, Gu Chongqing was even angrier. Was it because grandfather didn't teach them martial arts? It was because they couldn't endure that hardship. In the past, Gu Chongqing also felt that grandfather's requirements were too strict. He could do it because he had no other choice. He was the eldest grandson of the Marquis estate. He shouldered the fate of the Marquis estate. His 2 little brothers didn't have to work so hard. But today, he saw that child in the courtyard. He was only 3 or 4 years old, but he trained harder than he did when he was young. That child didn't make a sound. No one even forced him. With this comparison, Gu Chongqing felt that he really was someone else's little brother. Gu Chongqing looked at Gu Chenglin, his last trace of sympathy gone. "Go kneel in the study." Gu Chenglin suspected that he had misheard. "Big brother, what did you say?" Gu Chongqing said coldly, I told you to kneel in the study room. Gu Chenglin exploded. Why do you want me to kneel? I've already been beaten up to this extent, and you're still punishing me? Are you really my big brother? Gu Chongqing looked at his younger brother, who not only did not repent, but also spoke arrogantly. For a moment, anger rose in his heart. When her mother passed away, her two younger brothers were still very young. Because they pitied them, the whole residence spoiled them, especially Gu Changlin, who was almost spoiled beyond recognition. Over the past few years, Gu Changfeng had slowly restrained himself. Only Gu Changlin was still as naughty and mischievous as when he was a child. However, he was no longer a real child, and no one would easily forgive him for his mistakes. It's because I'm your big brother that I have to discipline you. Do you want to go to the study yourself, or do you want me to drag you to the study? Gu Changfeng had been eavesdropping outside for a while. Seeing that his big brother was about to get serious, he hurriedly walked in. Big brother, third brother, stop arguing. When Gu Changlin saw Gu Changfeng, he suddenly felt wronged. Of his two brothers, it was obvious that his second brother was closer to him. Big brother always had endless books to study and endless martial arts to practice. Only his second brother was truly by his side. He said, "Second brother, be the judge. Big brother wants to punish me." Gu Changfeng whispered, "Don't talk so much." When Big Brother was punishing third brother, he had already guessed what Big Brother had guessed. He had long felt that this method was not reliable. If Big Brother was so easy to fool, he would not have earned the title of Iron Face King of Hell in the military camp. Gu Changfeng desperately tried to signal third brother with his eyes. However, Gu Changlin was in a fit of anger and could not see anything. "Big brother, you're punishing me for a wild brat. You'll regret it. What are you going to say? Do you know who he is?" The last sentence was covered by Gu Chengfeng's hand in time, and he could not say the correct pronunciation. Gu Changfeng was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. Was third brother planning to expose Gu Yan's identity? If he told Big Brother that he had already recognized that brat as Gu Yan, it would be no different from proving that he was the one who started it. Moreover, the whole family knew that Gu Yan had a heart condition. Wasn't locking him up in a small dark room the same as asking for his life? This wasn't bullying, this was murder. Even if Gu Changlin did not want to kill at that time, could Gu Changlin explain himself clearly? Would Big Brother believe him? Big Brother punishing you is for your own good. Look at you, you caused trouble and still came home to speak rudely to Big Brother. Gu Changfeng glared at Gu Changlin, giving him 10,000 signals with his eyes. Gu Changlin understood this time and did not say anything. Gu Changfeng secretly sighed and said to Gu Chongqing, "Big brother, third brother did cause trouble and deserves to be punished. However, look at how badly he is injured. He has already been taught a lesson. If he is punished to kneel again, he won't be able to take it. Let him recover first." Big brother was strict, but he still loved third brother very much. Gu Changfeng secretly made a reassuring gesture to Gu Changlin. Unexpectedly, before he could finish the gesture, a quarrel broke out outside the courtyard. A manservant rushed in with a hurried expression. "Third young master. Not good. Madam is here. She wants to see you. We can't stop her anymore." Gu Chongqing's impression of Madame Yao was correct. Madame Yao had always been a weak woman, but now, the servants in the courtyard could not stop her. It was as if she had gone crazy and barged in. She arrived in front of Gu Qinglin's bed and ignored Gu Changfeng and Gu Chongqing in the room. She raised her hand and gave Gu Changlin a resounding slap. Gu Changlin was stunned by the slap. This was much more shocking than being beaten by Gu Jiao. His understanding of Gu Jiao was limited to the rumors of the servants. In the end, he had no idea what kind of person Gu Jiao was. But he understood Madame Yao too well. Madame Yao was easy to bully. Otherwise, she would not have brought Gu Yan to live in the farmstead. Don't talk about hitting him, Madame Yao did not even dare to scold him. Gu Changlin stared at Madame Yao in disbelief. Madame Yao's eyes were too frightening. It was as if she wanted to skin Gu Chunlin alive. Gu Chunlin actually felt a trace of fear. Gu Chongqing's shock was no less than his two younger brothers. He had seen Madame Yao smile like a child, and now he saw Madame Yao. He suddenly felt that he had never truly understood this stepmother of his. "Why did you hit him?" Gu Chongqing asked. Madame Yao sneered, her eyes filled with tears. "Why did I hit him? As the big brother, do you not know? It doesn't matter how you target me, but why did you bully my yen? It wasn't easy for him. It wasn't easy for him to live until today." Madame Yao had just gone to her daughter's place and found out that her son had been bullied. Neither of them were willing to tell her. She secretly asked Gu Shaoshun and begged Gu Shaoshun before Gu Shaoshun told her. Gu Shaoshun actually did not know much. He did not know who had saved Gu Yen. He only knew that Gu Yen had been in danger at the time and had almost lost his life. It had been done by someone called Gu Chunlin. Gu Jiao had also asked him what Gu Chunlin looked like and which class he was from. Madame Yao's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. She could not imagine her own son being tied up and locked in the woodshed, struggling until his hands were covered in blood. She was a mother. Her heart would hurt. Madame Yao's tears fell down in large droplets. "You don't have to acknowledge him as your younger brother. You can just treat him as a completely unrelated stranger. He has his older sister. He will not come back to fight with you. He has already hidden so far away. Why can't you let him go?" Towards the end, Madame Yao was practically shouting herself hoarse. "When you bullied him when he was young, I took into account that you were children. But you are not children now. Why do you still treat him like you did in the past? Don't you know that he has a heart condition? Must you kill him before you are willing to let him go? Why? Just because you hate me? What did I do wrong? I have never harmed your mother. I have never wanted to take away your father. Your mother's death has nothing to do with me. Why must you place these debts on my head?" Madame Yao had never defended herself against the rumors in the outside world. She had always silently endured them. However, today, when she learned that her son had almost died at the hands of his half-brother, Madame Yao could no longer control herself. The emotions that she had accumulated over the past 10 years completely exploded at this moment. She no longer had her usual demeanor. She was like a crazy woman who could fight with her life at any moment. In the end, she was just a mother. A mother who had been separated from her daughter for more than 10 years and bitterly held on to this day by her sick son. Nothing could happen to her child. That would be taking her life. If one had to die before she could stop, then she would do it. She would kill Gu Chunlin. She would take him down with her. "Madam." Gu Chongqing grabbed Madame Yao's wrist and said to Madame Yao, "You're tired. Go back to your courtyard to rest first. I will properly discipline third brother here. Someone come. Send Madame back." He gave the order. The ones that came were not rough grannies, but hidden guards. The hidden guard grabbed Madame Yao's arm. "Don't hurt her," Gu Chongqing said. "Yes." The hidden guard complied. No matter how irrational Madame Yao was, she knew that she could not beat a hidden guard. She turned around in a daze and allowed the hidden guard to take her soulless body out. Gu Chongqing put away the dagger that he had taken out from Madame Yao's sleeve. He turned his head and coldly looked at Gu Chunlin. Gu Chunglin's heart skipped a beat. "Big brother. Listen to my explanation. I recognized him. But I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't want to kill him. I thought it wasn't him. Gu Chengfeng face-bombed. It was over. The thing he was most worried about had happened. He really could not explain it clearly. The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated even faster. Millions of novels will be read for free. All the novels that can't be found online will be here. https://www.zhhbqg com/89642_896428226/114862180. HTML Genius will remember this website's address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg.com BQGE's mobile reading website. zhhbqg.com. Chapter 134. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all available here. Gu Chengfeng wanted to explain for his younger brother, but his elder brother's aura had completely cooled down. He was so scared that he couldn't speak coherently. At this moment, he really did blame Yao Shi. Why did her normally bullied appearance suddenly disappear just like that? With her making such a fuss, he couldn't cover up anything. What didn't have became something. Big brother. Gu Chengfeng began. You shut up. Gu Chongqing coldly shouted and turned to look at Gu Changlin. Go to the ancestral hall and kneel for me. Without my orders, you're not allowed to get up. Big brother. Gu Qinglin's expression changed. Just now, he was just telling him to kneel in the study. Now he was going to the ancestral hall? The ancestral hall enshrined the ancestral tablets. Normally, only those who committed unforgivable mistakes would go there as punishment. Gu Chenglin refused. I'm not going to the ancestral hall. You have to go even if you don't want to. As soon as Gu Chongqing's voice fell, he directly grabbed Gu Qinglin's collar. Gu Chenglin had already been beaten up quite badly by Gu Jiao. With his elder brother grabbing him like this, he felt that his neck almost fell off. Gu Chongqing threw him into the ancestral hall of the Marquis Fu and left 2 guards to guard. You're not allowed to give him food or water. Gu Chengfeng grabbed his elder brother's arm. Big brother, third brother's injuries are not light. Punishing him like this, aren't you afraid that he'll be bitterly disappointed? Gu Chongqing coldly said, if he's bitterly disappointed, won't others be bitterly disappointed? Gu Chengfeng argued, that brat is an outsider. Are you going to punish your own brother for an outsider? Did you forget that before mother died, she asked you to take care of me and third brother? You swore in front of mother's bed that you would not allow anyone to bully us. But look, what did you do? Gu Chongqing looked at him deeply. You also go and kneel. Gu Chengfeng was stunned. After Gu Chongqing locked his 2 younger brothers in the ancestral hall, he turned around and returned to the courtyard. In the meantime, Gu Chengfeng and Gu Qinglin's manservants came to deliver food to the 2 of them, but they were all stopped by the guards at the door. The servants had no choice but to seek help from Pine Crane Academy. What did you say? Lin and Feng have been locked up in the ancestral hall? Old Madame Gu had just asked someone to remove the headband and was about to rest when she heard the news. She quickly asked the servant to comb her hair again. Gu Qinglin's personal servant said with a long face, That's right, old madam. The 2 young masters have been locked up. Third young master is still injured. I'm afraid he'll lose his life if he's locked up for a night without eating or drinking. Old Madame Gu was furious. She hurriedly asked Nanny Kai, her subordinate, to go to the ancestral hall to bring her out. Not long after, Granny Kai came to report, Old Madam, the 2 guards said that they can't release her without the heir's order. This is outrageous. Old Madame Gu slammed the table and said to Nanny Kai, Where is the heir? Call him here. The heir just went out. He's not in the residence. Nanny Kai said. Old Madame Gu thought of her precious grandson and felt pain and anger in her heart. Among the 3 grandsons, the old Duke valued his eldest grandson the most, but old Madame Gu doted on her youngest grandson the most. Gu Qinglin's unruly personality was mostly due to old Madame Gu's indulgence. I'll go there personally. The Duke's residence occupied a large area. It took a quarter of an hour to walk from Pine Crane Academy to the ancestral hall. Old Madame Gu couldn't wait to walk there slowly and asked the servants to prepare a slide pole. When she arrived at the entrance of the ancestral hall, the two guards on duty bowed to her. Old Madam. Old Madam Gu held Nanny Kai's arm with one hand and pointed at their noses with the other. You still recognize me? I thought you were the ones in charge of the Duke's residence. Hurry up and release second young master and third young master. The two guards didn't move. Old Madam Gu's eyes were like torches. What? Are my words useless now? One of the guards said, This is the heir's order. We dare not disobey. I'm his grandmother. Old Madam Gu was so angry that she leaned back and asked the servant beside her, Where's the Duke? The servant said, The Duke is not in the residence either. Duke Gu had left the imperial court for so long, and his official business had piled up like a mountain. He had been busy dealing with it these few days. Old Madam Gu felt her liver hurt from anger. Then can I go in and see them? The heir had only said that no one was allowed to send food or drinks, but he didn't say that no one was allowed to visit. The two made way for Old Madam Gu. Old Madam Gu entered the ancestral hall in a hurry. Gu Chengfeng was kneeling on the mat obediently. Gu Chenglin was too badly injured to kneel. He was half lying on the ground, looking as miserable as one could imagine. Old Madam Gu's heart throbbed in pain. She rushed over and knelt on the mat to hug her precious grandson. Lin, what happened to you? Who hurt you like this? When Gu Chenglin saw Old Madam Gu, tears welled up in his eyes. Grandmother, you have to seek justice for your grandson. Gu Chenglin told Old Madam Gu about his painful experience. He knew that his grandmother doted on him and believed everything he said. Thus, he spoke without thinking about logic. I didn't touch him at all. He recognized me as his third brother and hated me for bullying him when he was young, so he asked his older sister to beat me up. That girl grew up in the countryside and farmed a lot. She was so strong that she didn't know how to control her strength. I took into account that she was my younger sister, so I didn't hit her. Grandmother. In the end, eldest brother punished me. Eldest brother didn't believe me. Grandmother. Gu Chenglin's tears and snot were all over his face as he cried miserably. Old Madam Gu's heart was broken. She said to the guards outside, If you don't let me take them out today, I'll die here. The guards were in a difficult position. They couldn't disobey the heir's orders, but they couldn't let anything happen to Old Madam Gu here. Fortunately, Gu Chongqing only went to deal with a small matter and returned home quickly. After hearing the news, he went to the ancestral hall. Old Madam Gu actually valued her eldest grandson, but sure he needed to maintain the relationship between people. Gu Chongqing trained with the old duke all year round and wasn't always by Old Madam Gu's side. He didn't act like a spoiled child like his younger brothers, so he wasn't as close to Old Madam Gu as his younger brothers were to Old Madam Gu. When Old Madam Gu thought of how he treated his younger brother so cruelly, she was so angry that she wanted to punish him. Open your eyes and see what you've done to your younger brother. Gu Chongqing said seriously, Grandmother, it's cold in the ancestral hall. You'd better go back to Pine Crane Courtyard. Be careful not to catch a cold. Old Madam Gu gritted her teeth. You also know that it's cold in the ancestral hall. Aren't you afraid that your brother will catch a cold? Look at how badly he's injured. Instead of taking revenge for him, you're punishing him? What kind of elder brother are you? Gu Chongqing glanced at Gu Chenglin coldly. Gu Chenglin lowered his head guiltily, not daring to meet his elder brother's sharp gaze. Old Madam Gu said coldly, Why are you glaring at him? Come at me if you dare. Gu Chongqing said calmly, He has committed a crime and he knows it clearly. Old Madam Gu said angrily, What did he do? With Old Madam Gu backing him up, Gu Chenglin became bolder. Yes, elder brother. I already said that I didn't do anything. Why don't you believe me? Gu Chongqing's gaze was cold. Gu Yan almost lost his life. Old Madam Gu was unhappy. Yao said that her son almost lost his life. Did he really almost lose his life? You don't believe your brother, but you believe an outsider? I was the one who saved him. I was the one who fed him the medicine. I saw him almost die in front of me with my own eyes. Gu Chongqing didn't say these words. Because even if he said it, they would think that Gu Yen was injured. Could it be that Gu Chenglin did it? As the elder brother, you saw Gu Chenglin kidnap Gu Yen with your own eyes. Who knew who he had offended outside and was so narrow-minded that they blamed it on Gu Chenglin. Gu Chongqing wasn't siding with Gu Yen. The whole thing didn't have much to do with whether the other party was Gu Yen or not. What was important was Gu Chenglin's character. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Gu Chongqing wouldn't have believed that his own brother had become so crooked. Gu Chongqing refused to let him go no matter what. Old Madame Gu was so angry that she asked him to kneel in front of the ancestral tablets to receive his punishment. Gu Chongqing didn't even make a sound when she hit him with the ruler. Are you letting your brother out or not? No. Old Madame Gu was so angry that her hand trembled and the ruler hit Gu Chongqing's face. Old Madame Gu was stunned. Grandmother, don't hit him. Gu Chengfeng hugged old Madame Gu's arm. At this time, concubine Ling also arrived. She persuaded old Madame Gu to go back. Okay, I won't let anyone send food to Lin but I have to let the mansion doctor treat his injury so that he can kneel obediently. Concubine Ling was a very smart woman. She could always find a way to make both sides compromise. Gu Chongqing didn't say anything and returned to his courtyard. Call the mansion doctor. Concubine Ling ordered. Yes. The servant girl answered. The servant girl went to call the mansion doctor while concubine Ling went to Gu Chongqing's courtyard. I saw that your face was injured, so I brought you some medicine. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw that Gu Chongqing's servant was already applying medicine for him. She smiled, walked over and said, This doesn't look like the medicine in our mansion. Is it a new medicine from the military camp? Gu Chongqing paused. No, it's from the doctor outside. How can you use medicine from outside casually? Just use the one in the mansion. Concubine Ling handed over the medicine in her hand. Gu Chongqing said lightly, No, this is very good. Concubine Ling was stunned and took back the medicine with a smile. Okay, I'll listen to you. She paused and then said, Chongqing, this is a matter between you two brothers. Logically speaking, as a concubine, I should not interfere. However, Chenglin is your younger brother. No matter how many mistakes he has made, you should not convict him based on the madam's one-sided words. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but doing so will make Chenglin think that you're partial to madam and don't love him anymore. Gu Chongqing said, If being fair once is considered partial to others, then what is my indulgence for him in the past? Concubine Ling was speechless. After a while she said, But he's your brother. You should love him more. Gu Chongqing didn't continue this topic. Instead, he changed the topic. Concubine, was my mother really killed by Yao Shi? Concubine Ling looked at him strangely. Why are you suddenly asking this? Gu Chongqing said thoughtfully, There's always been a rumor in the mansion that Yao Shi killed my mother. Concubine Ling smiled faintly. There's no evidence. Just listen to it. Don't take it to heart. Gu Chongqing said, I have evidence. It's because I have evidence that I've believed it for so many years. What evidence? Concubine Ling asked. Gu Chongqing said, When my mother was sick, someone wrote a letter to my father. It was basically expressing their feelings to my father and asking him when he would marry her. That letter fell into my mother's hands. My mother's illness worsened. Concubine Ling's face was shocked. I didn't think that something like this would happen to Jejie. Gu Chongqing recalled. Yao Shi was my mother's good friend. During that time, she frequently went in and out of the mansion. Someone saw Yao Shi secretly put the letter in my father's study. A few days later, my mother called Yao Shi and openly asked her if she wanted to be my father's second wife. At that time, I was standing outside the door and eavesdropping. If she said yes, I wouldn't have hated her for so many years. Concubine Ling's eyes widened. She rejected Jejie? Then why did she write a letter? Gu Chongqing said, In front of my mother, she pretended to be virtuous. But behind her back, she had already had an affair with my father. Do you think my mother was angered to death by her? Concubine Ling laughed dryly. Since there's so much evidence, why did you ask if Yao Shi killed your mother? Gu Chongqing said seriously, because she said today that she didn't do anything wrong to us. Concubine Ling smiled faintly. You believed what she said? Gu Chongqing squeezed the dagger that he took from Yao Shi. She came here today with the determination to die. She's going to die. Why would she lie? Concubine Ling said, maybe it's for her child. Gu Chongqing said, Gu Yen has his sister. He doesn't care about the mansion's property. Concubine Ling smiled faintly. She also said this? Gu Chongqing shook his head. Yao Shi did say this, but he felt it more from Gu Jiao and Gu Yen. Concubine Ling, who do you think is the person who killed my mother? Concubine Ling clenched her fist. The latest chapter of this book is not finished. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found on the internet are all here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_896/114831296. HTML Genius remembered this site's address in a second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, m. zhbqg.com. Chapter 135. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster and more frequently. Millions of novels are read for free. Novels with connotations that cannot be found online are all available here. Old Madame Gu threw a huge tantrum in the ancestral hall, causing the entire household to know that Gu Chongqing had locked his two younger brothers in the ancestral hall. Marquis Gu did not know about this. He had been busy with the Ministry of Works and had not returned to the manor for a few days. Lord Gu, the Ministry of War is urging us again. An official under Marquis Gu said. Marquis Gu sat in his chair and looked at the mountain of documents on his desk. He felt a headache coming on. Urging us, urging us, urging us all day long. Aren't they already in the process of forging? It's only been a few days? The official suffered an unexpected calamity and was scolded on both sides. He felt bitter. The Ministry of War said that our speed is too slow. They can't wait 2 months. Marquis Gu said angrily, we have to wait even if we can't. What they want are weapons. Weapons are made of iron, not mud. Is it that fast? The official broke out in cold sweat. The Ministry of War said that they will give you at most 1 month. You must forge that batch of swords. 1 month? He's daydreaming. It was not that Marquis Gu did not want to forge the swords for the Ministry of War, but their current technology was limited. If they could obtain the latest water road technology from the Liang Kingdom, perhaps the amount of iron they could forge would increase greatly. The official said, but the Ministry of War said that even the civilian blacksmiths can make such a small amount of weapons. Why can't our Ministry of Works do it? Civilian blacksmiths can make it? Marquis Gu laughed sarcastically. The Ministry of War is even using their ability to spread rumors for the sake of weapons? The official said embarrassedly, no, Lord Gu, this official seems to have heard of this before. There is a type of box among the civilians that is more effective than our water row. The wind is stronger and the firepower is stronger. In a day, it can forge 10 times more iron. 10 times? Marquis Gu waved his hand. No, 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 that's impossible. Even the Liang Kingdom could not do it. The Liang Kingdom passed down the earliest water road technology to the Zhao Kingdom, but it should not be 10 times worse than theirs. The official asked, why don't we send someone to investigate? It said that it's a place called Clear Spring Town in Yuzhou Province. Marquis Gu waved his hand. Oh, that's even more impossible. I just came from Yu Province. How could I not know of such a powerful technology? Marquis Gu was determined not to investigate. The Ministry of War couldn't wait any longer and immediately sent someone over. In early November, there was a light shui in Beijing. The moment little Jing Kong stepped out of the house, he did not look where he was going and tripped. Ever since he left the mountain, little Jing Kong rarely wrestled. Gu Jiao almost forgot that he was a famous wrestling monk. However, he was still adept at throwing himself. He hugged his head, bent his knees, and rolled around the yard like a small ball. Gu Jiao had just come out of the kitchen. Little Jing Kong rolled to Gu Jiao's feet. Then, the little Jing Kong spread its arms and legs and looked at Gu Jiao cutely. Gu Jiao picked him up and patted the snowflakes off his body. "Why did you fall again?" Little Jing Kong was intoxicated in Gu Jiao's arms. "Jiao Jiao is too beautiful. I was mesmerized by Jiao Jiao." Gu Jiao was speechless. Did the wrestling monk turn into a lovey-dovey monk? Little Jing Kong's hair was short. Worried that he would feel cold, Gu Jiao bought him a tiger head hat. The tiger's eyes were big and round. Little Jing Kong looked cute when he wore it. He usually did not wear it in the academy because he thought it was childish. However, in front of Gu Jiao, he not only wore the tiger head hat, but also wore a tiger head vest and tiger head shoes. After acting cute and asking for a kiss, little Jing Kong skipped back to his room with his brother-in-law. After finishing the early morning business, he changed back to Jing Kong and went to school with a serious face. Gu Yen felt much better after resting for a few days. He could go to school now. Gu Jiao prepared a hand warmer, one for her great-aunt, one for Xiao Lulang and one for each of her 3 younger brothers. Xiao Lulang took little Jing Kong to the Imperial College. Gu Jiao sent Gu Yen and Gu Xiaoshun to school. Gu Yen looked around when he walked out of the alley. Gu Jiao asked, "Who are you looking for?" "No one." Gu Yen looked up at the sky. How could he say no? For the past few days, he had been running to the door and looking at the end of the alley. Gu Jiao was his sister. How could she not know what he was thinking? However, that person had not appeared since he saved Gu Yen. Gu Jiao sent them to the academy. Then she went to Chong, an avenue. She had been here for a long time. She had familiarized herself with the nearby terrain. She had thought about it. Although they still had 1,000 taels of silver, the price of goods in the capital was so high that they could not just sit at home and eat. She bought some herbs in the market and made some medicine for wounds. She planned to sell it in the nearby clinic. When she walked to the first clinic, she saw an acquaintance, Little Six. The young man who was called Little Six turned around in a daze. His eyes lit up. "Miss Gu? You came to the capital?" Gu Jiao nodded. "My husband came to study in the Imperial College. We all moved here." Little Six hurriedly bowed. "Congratulations, young Master Xiao." "Congratulations, Miss Gu." Little Six was the coachman of the second boss. He had run many errands for Gu Jiao when they were in the clinic. He was also the one who got the iron tools for cutting the mountain. "Where is the second boss?" Gu Jiao asked. Little Six's face darkened. "The situation of the second boss is not very good. I can't explain it in a few words. He is in the tavern over there. I will take Miss Gu there." "Okay." Gu Jiao agreed. On the way to the tavern, Little Six told her more or less. The general idea was that the second boss suddenly returned to the capital because Master Hu was dying. The second boss rushed back to the capital without stopping. However, he still could not see Master Hu for the last time. The Hu family did not even wait for the second boss to come back. They buried Master Hu. In fact, the second boss was only late by 1 day. If he had waited for 1 more day, he could have personally sent his father off. The Hu family did not even give him such an opportunity. This was not the most hateful thing. The most hateful thing was that the Hu family actually put the blame on the second boss. They slandered that the second boss was indifferent to the old man's illness and did not come to the funeral. The Zhao kingdom ruled the world by filial piety. The second boss' reputation was ruined when he was accused of being unfilial. He was driven out by the Hu family. Little Six wiped his tears. He could not help but feel sorry for the second boss. I know. Gu Jiao arrived at the door of the tavern and said to Little Six, "Go and bring some hot tea over." And Little Six choked with sobs and turned to find the hot tea. Gu Jiao entered the room and a pungent smell of alcohol hit her nose. After not seeing him for several months, the once high-spirited second boss was now like a sloppy drunkard. He was paralyzed on the floor without any image. Beside him were countless empty wine bottles. He stared blankly at the ceiling, motionless, as if he was dead. Gu Jiao stepped over the wine bottle and squatted down beside him. She opened the small medicine box and took out 2 hangover pills. Here. The second boss did not move. At this time, Little Six brought hot water into the room. Gu Jiao took the hot water and asked Little Six to help the second boss up. She forced him to take the hangover pills. Little Six looked at the disheveled and unkempt second boss and choked with sobs. "Master, Miss Gu came to see you." The second boss sat on the floor with a dull expression. Gu Jiao looked at him and calmly asked, "How did your father die?" The second boss suddenly came back to his senses and looked at Gu Jiao in a daze. The emotions that he did not dare to vent in front of his family suddenly broke down. His tears fell down uncontrollably. He held his head and cried until his whole body trembled. Gu Jiao did not disturb him. She quietly waited for him to finish crying. Little Six's eyes reddened as he left. After a long time, the second boss finally calmed down. He used his sleeve to wipe his tears and smiled at Gu Jiao. "Girl, why are you here?" "I came to accompany my husband to study at the Imperial College." "Ah, Master Xiao has passed the high school. Congratulations. What happened to you?" Perhaps it was because of the hangover pills or because he had cried all his tears, but he felt a lot better. He smiled as if nothing had happened. "It's nothing. I've been muddle-headed for a few days. I've made a fool of myself." "Are you still going back to the Hu family?" Gu Jiao asked. The second boss was stunned. After a while, he smiled bitterly. "I can't go back." "Was your father good to you?" The second boss thought for a long time. "He was good before. Before his mother passed away, the family of 3 lived a happy life. Since he had a stepmother, he also had a stepfather." "So you blame your stepmother?" The second boss wanted to say, "How many stepmothers in the world are good?" But when he was about to say it, he remembered that Gu Jiao's mother was also a stepmother. He said, "If my stepmother was half as kind as the Marchioness, I wouldn't be like this." But it's no use. No matter how kind she is, her 3 stepsons still don't like her. "So you think I'm wrong?" "No, you're not wrong. I won't comment on the matters of the Marquis family. But for your matters, the one who's wrong is your father. He was so heartless to you. Why do you feel sad for his death?" Gu Jiao wasn't blaming the second boss. She really didn't understand. She didn't have this in her emotional reserves. Whoever was good to her, she would be good to them. Whoever bullied her, she would bully them back, even if the other party was her own father. She looked at the second boss strangely. Second boss already knew that she was different from the others. Her way of thinking was different from theirs. He bitterly smiled and patiently explained, "Actually, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe. I just remember how he treated me well in the past." Gu Jiao still didn't understand. Maybe she wouldn't understand in this lifetime. "What do you plan to do if you don't go back to the Hu family?" "I don't know." Gu Jiao seriously thought about it. "How about selling medicine with me?" The second boss. He didn't comfort her. "Thank you." At first, the second boss thought that Gu Jiao really wanted to drag him to sell medicine in the streets. Later, he realized that Gu Jiao wanted to open a medical center. The second boss would provide the capital, and Gu Jiao would invest in the technology. They would each own 50% of the shares. If other people advised the second boss like this, the second boss would definitely not agree. He didn't have the confidence or the will to fight. Gu Jiao was different. She had a kind of power that made people believe in her. The second boss made up his mind. Okay. Let's do it. However, the second boss was expelled from the Hu family. He didn't have much money on hand. Even if he bought the cheapest shop nearby, he would need at least 3,000 taels. I can lend you some, Gu Jiao said, but there will be interest. The second boss. I keep feeling that something is wrong. At noon, Xiao Lulang came back for lunch. Gu Jiao told Xiao Lulang about the money. There were still 1,000 taels left at home. She would need to use about 800 taels. In the study, Xiao Lulang was organizing the books he was going to bring to the academy. When he heard this, he said without thinking, "The money is for you to use. You don't have to tell me." So generous. Gu Jiao said, "Oh, aren't you going to ask me what it's for?" "What is it for?" Xiao Lulang asked. "Loan sharks," Gu Jiao said. Xiao Lulang was dumbfounded. Haha. Gu Jiao was amused by him again. "I'm lying to you. I'm lending it to someone else. You know that person too. He's the second boss of Rejuvenation Hall." Xiao Lulang said casually, "I heard that you worked as a medicine boy in his house?" Gu Jiao blinked her eyes and said, "Who told you that?" Xiao Lulang said, "Mother-in-law." Gu Jiao. Ever since he found out that her box might be a small medicine box, Xiao Lulang had a faint guess. But since she didn't say it, he didn't point it out. They both had secrets about each other. His identity, her background. Xiao Lulang picked up a cup of hot tea on the table and took a sip. Gu Jiao hummed and pointed at the other cup of tea on the table. "I just drank this. This cup is for you." Xiao Liulong's expression froze. Gu Jiao looked at him with her chin in her hands. "You also drank what I drank. Rounded up, did the two of us indirectly do that?" Xiao Liulong's handsome face turned red. He put down the teacup and said seriously, "What nonsense are you talking about? I didn't drink from the same place as you just drank from." "Oh." Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Don't blush if you can. I'm going to cook." "Okay." Xiao Liulong's expression was serious. Gu Jiao looked at him one last time and turned to cook. The clanking of pots and pans came from the kitchen. Only then did Xiao Lulang let out a sigh of relief, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. He pressed down on his somewhat disobedient chest and fixed his gaze on the teacup. He slowly picked up the teacup and took a sip carefully. "Brother-in-law." Little Jing Kong suddenly jumped in. Xiao Lulang choked with guilt. He almost choked to death. Digression 23333. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel is more complete and updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. All the novels that can't be found online are available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_896/1148276888. HTML Genius memorized the website's address. www.zhbqg.com. Biku Gu mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 136. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels are read for free. Novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet are all available here. After Xiao Lulang entered the Imperial College, he attracted quite a bit of attention. There was no other reason other than his appearance made people think of the young chancellor. All the teachers who had seen the young chancellor were amazed that there was someone who looked so similar in this world. However, although they looked similar, the young chancellor had already passed away. They had all attended his funeral so naturally, they wouldn't confuse the young man in front of them with him. Furthermore, Xiao Lulang only looked similar at first glance. Upon closer inspection, his gaze and temperament were completely different from the young chancellor. Other than that, his temperament, behavior, and even his handwriting and essays were different from the young chancellor. How much effort did a person have to put in to be able to be reborn? Furthermore, if he was the young chancellor, why didn't he return to the Shao family? He was still a cripple. If it was in the previous dynasty, people with serious illnesses wouldn't be able to participate in the imperial examinations. It was only after the change of dynasty that the old uniforms were abolished. There weren't many students who had seen the young chancellor, so it didn't cause too much of a commotion. Why is County King free to come to the Imperial College today? In the Imperial College's Ming Zheng Hall, Zhang Sai received County King and who was wearing a brocade robe. Although County King and was a student of the Imperial College, he had special privileges and didn't have to come to school every day. This was the first time he showed his face since school started. County King smiled and said, "I heard that there is a very impressive new student in the Imperial College." He didn't mention the name, but Zhang Sai instantly guessed Xiao Liulong's name. Zhang Sai smiled fawningly. "He's just a... Compared to you, County King, it's like the difference between heaven and earth." County King smiled faintly. "You can't say that. He's someone I have high hopes for." Zhang Sai was stunned. County King smiled. "Our Zhuang family originally wanted to recommend him into the college, but he got in himself." Zhang Sai actually thinks that this kind of person is just so? Zhang Sai broke out in a cold sweat. This Jun Wang really didn't play by the rules. If a normal person encountered such a student, wouldn't they have treated the other party as a troublesome person and be on guard? Judging from the Duke's words, was the Zhuang family planning to rope him in? Royal Prince and did have the intention to rope in Xiao Lulang. Although the Zhuang family had produced many talents, who would complain about having too many talents? With one more chess piece, wouldn't they have a higher chance of winning the game? Royal Prince and looked at Zhang Sai. "Tell me the truth. How capable is Xiao Lulang?" "This." Zhang Sai hesitated for a moment, then said, "In terms of true talent, he is indeed outstanding, but this official still has the same words, he can't be compared to you." "You don't have to compete with me," Princeton said casually. Zhang Sai paused for a moment, then cupped his hands and said, "Then if we exclude you, he would be the #1 freshman this year." Royal Prince An's red lips curled up. "Very good. Train him well. Our Zhuang family wants this person." Zhang Sai put on a fake smile. It's his good fortune to be chosen by the Zhuang family. To be honest, Zhang Sai didn't like Xiao Lulang very much. It was mainly because this fellow didn't respect him enough. Every time they met, he had the illusion that he didn't know who was the teacher. Royal Prince, then this officials. Zhang Sai looked at Royal Prince and meaningfully. Royal Prince and said, "The Imperial College will be reopened. The position of Chancellor naturally can't remain empty. I will report this to my grandfather and ask him to put in a good word for Zhang Sai in the Imperial Court if necessary." Zhang Sai thanked him profusely. "Thank you, Royal Prince. Thank you, Grand Tutor." Gu Jiao didn't hide the fact that she wanted to join the partnership and open a medical center from her family. Of course, she didn't say how much she wanted to invest. She only said that if she invested 800 taels, she would be able to open a medical center. Her family expressed their strong support for this. After dinner, the matriarch found Gu Jiao and threw her a money bag. "What's this for?" Gu Jiao asked. The matriarch said faintly, "Return the money to me after the medical center makes money." This was the matriarch's coffin money. Inside it was the money that Gu Jiao usually gave to her as a filial piety, the money that she earned from selling the wound medicine, and the money that she earned from telling people how to exorcise evil spirits and reading palms. It wasn't a small amount. It was a total of 50 taels. Gu Jiao, I wouldn't have known if I didn't open a medical center. You can make a lot of money in secret. Gu Xiaoshun also gave the money that she usually didn't bear to spend to Gu Jiao. Gu Yen didn't need to say anything. He gave all his pocket money to his elder sister and also got 10 taels in advance from the little monk. Since then, he started to work part-time for the little monk to pay off his debts. After Xiao Lulang entered the Imperial College, He earned a small sum of money by doing homework for the rich children. However, he felt that it wasn't enough to open a medical center. He found Lin Chengye and patted his shoulder. Are you still worried about not being able to do your homework? Are you still losing your hair because you can't write 8-legged essay? Gold medal tutoring. Try to reach the Huiyuan level. The price is favorable. If it's ineffective, half the money will be refunded. Lin Chengye, when he met with the second boss again, Gu Jiao's money was no less than the second boss's. The second boss was quite puzzled. After all, the second boss had been the boss for so many years. He still had some connections. Gu Jiao didn't need to worry about the manpower. The biggest problem now was where to open the medical center. For Gu Jiao's sake, it was best to open it near the Imperial College. Gu Jiao found Zhang Bao. Zhang Bao took the two of them to see the shops and houses on Chong'an Avenue and Xuanwu Avenue. Chong'an Avenue had a larger flow of people and was more prosperous. However, the good shops had all been rented out. The remaining shops were either too expensive or too inferior. No wonder they couldn't be rented out. Then let's go to Xuanwu Avenue? Zhang Bao said. Xuanwu Avenue wasn't as lively as here. It was better to do business here. Zhang Bao smiled. Xuanwu Avenue is more convenient to go to the Imperial College. Business won't be bad. Let's go take a look. Gu Jiao said. Okay. The second boss sighed. The three of them went to Xuanwu Avenue. To be honest, this street looked more orderly than Chong'an Avenue. It was just that the flow of people was less. Zhang Bao introduced a commercial and residential house to the two of them. This was originally a residential house. It was later changed into a shop. What do you think of this? This shop was much better than the ones on Chong'an Avenue. However, the second boss was more interested in the one next to it. That one has already been bought. Zhang Bao said. How much is this? The second boss asked. 300 taels. Zhang Bao said. 300 taels? The second boss thought he had misheard. Zhang Bao smiled. Yes, one payment per year. The deposit is 1,000 taels. You're too expensive. The second boss was from the capital. Even he felt that this price was somewhat unacceptable. Zhang Bao said helplessly, the price is rising. Last year, I could buy it for you for 250 taels. But this year, the Imperial College reopened. The prices of the houses in this area have all risen. The second boss looked at this house and then looked at the bigger and more magnificent one next to it. 300 taels is more like it. Are you sure you want this one? Gu Jiao asked. The second boss said, this one is bigger. Gu Jiao nodded to Zhang Bao. Zhang Bao took out a piece of paper. Then let's sign this deal? The second boss was startled. Didn't you say that someone has already bought it? Gu Jiao slowly took out the house deed from her sleeve. Yes, someone has already bought it. The owner is my family's little Jing Kong. Come, don't let your own fertile water flow into other people's fields. 300 taels it is. I'll rent it to you at a cheap price. The second boss pinched his philtrum. His eyes rolled back and he fell down. When little Jing Kong learned that Gu Jiao wanted to partner with others to open a medical center, he offered his house deed without hesitation. Of course, Gu Jiao couldn't let the little guy suffer a loss. If he wanted to rent someone else's house, why not rent her own? But if the second boss didn't like it, she wouldn't force him. Who knew that he would like it? Gu Jiao spread her hands. You can't blame me for this. When the second boss woke up, the contract had already been drawn up. He painfully paid the money and signed the signature. To be honest, he still didn't like this area. Although it was convenient to go to the Imperial College couldn't support a big medical center. The second boss's worries lasted until the second day of the medical center's renovation. He was discussing with the carpenter about where to get the medicine cabinet. Gu Jiao took a broom to clean the lobby. Then, she saw a handsome young scholar passing by. The young scholar inadvertently glanced at Gu Jiao and then stopped. The young scholar walked back and came to Gu Jiao. He pointed at himself with a folding fan and said, "Miss, do you still remember me?" "I don't remember," Gu Jiao said without thinking. The young scholar bent down to look at Gu Jiao's eyes. "How can you not remember me? Look at me." Gu Jiao didn't look at him. She turned around and swept other places. The young scholar turned back to Gu Jiao. "You must remember me. I still remember you." This logic was very interesting. She remembered her, so she must remember her? The young scholar's persistence was beyond Gu Jiao's imagination. Gu Jiao kept sweeping and ignored her. She simply squatted down and looked at Gu Jiao eagerly. Gu Jiao sighed helplessly. "What do you want?" The little scholar chuckled. "You finally remember me, right?" Gu Jiao said lightly. "Our medical center hasn't opened yet. If you want to see a doctor, you'd better go somewhere else." "Oh, so this is a medical center. Will you be working in this medical center in the future?" the young scholar asked. Obviously, he didn't think that Gu Jiao could open a medical center with the way she dressed. He thought that she was most likely hired by someone. Gu Jiao nodded casually and continued sweeping the floor. The young scholar exclaimed excitedly, "Then we will see each other often in the future." Gu Jiao looked at him strangely. "Do you have many diseases?" The young scholar shook his head like a rattledrum. His temper was really good. If it was someone else who was asked this question, they would have been angry. She didn't feel bad at all. She said, "Do you know what the houses next to yours have been bought for?" "I don't know." Gu Jiao said, "It's an academy." The young scholar said, "Oh." Gu Jiao was very calm. On the side, the second boss, who had been discussing cabinets with the carpenter, couldn't stay calm. He rushed over and looked at the young scholar. "What did you say just now?" "What academy?" "Haven't you heard? The Crown Prince Consort is going to open a girls' academy. On this street, the houses on the west side and a large piece of land behind them have all been bought by the Crown Prince Consort." As the young scholar spoke, he pointed at their medical center. "I remember that this shop was also going to be bought, but the owner couldn't be found, so it couldn't be rented." "That's right. How did you buy it? Even the Crown Prince Consort couldn't find it, so how did you find it?" The second boss thought, because the owner was a little monk from a temple, you couldn't find it. If the girls' academy was next to the Crown Prince Consort's, would the medical center have to worry about business? The second boss suppressed the excitement in his heart and asked, "You didn't make a mistake, right?" "We didn't hear about it." The young scholar said, "It's inside information, of course you didn't hear about it." Inside, Gu Jiao glanced at the young scholar. The young scholar clapped his hands. "All right, I'm leaving. When the girls' academy opens, I'll come and find you. The Crown Prince Consort really is a good person." She stood her ground against all opposition and opened the first girls' academy since the founding of the country of Zhao. In the future, women can also go to the academy to study like men. Don't you think this Crown Prince Consort is very outstanding? After 100 years, the Crown Prince Consort will definitely be recorded in the annals of history, and her name will go down in history. Gu Jiao didn't care if anyone could go down in history, but with a girls' academy, their medical center would have business. The second boss couldn't stop smiling. This location was good, too good. It was as if he could already see the shining silver flowing towards him. The news that the Crown Prince Consort was opening a girls' academy quickly spread through the noble circles. While the country of Zhao did not believe that it was virtuous for women to have no talent like the previous dynasty, women could only hire tutors to teach at home. The former Crown Prince Consort was like this, and now Gu Jinyu was like this. But today, Gu Jinyu received an invitation to enroll. Gu Jinyu finally learned that the Crown Prince Consort had opened a girls' academy near the directorate. "It seems that she sent me a present on the day of my graduation not because His Majesty had conferred the title of County Princess on me, but because she wants me to go to school at her academy." She knew it. How could the high and mighty Crown Prince Consort think highly of a little county princess like her? The girls' academy had just opened, and there were not many who were willing to send their daughters there. She had a very good reputation in the capital. If she entered the academy, there would definitely be many people who would follow her. The newest chapter of this book is not finished. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhhbqg.com/89642_89647973363. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, zhhbqg.com. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.